Dreaming about having your own podcast? Want to share your thoughts and ideas with the world but don't know how to do it? Maybe you're excited and committed but don't have a good space to record. Would you like a professional environment to produce all of your podcasts? Well, we have the latest technology from 4K to HD and various set layouts from green screen rooms to live studios. The Inspire Network is an actual television station where our studios are available for rent and we offer editing suites with the latest technology. We have a makeup studio and beautiful spaces to prepare for your show. Don't forget to ask about our convenient photography studio to capture professional headshots or redefine your new look. Our state-of-the-art facility is intentionally laid out to accommodate your multimedia needs.
March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. It's Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, featuring Harvey Watkins and the Canton Spirituals, Zacardi Cortez, Tim Rogers and the Phillips, Keela Richardson, the Gospel Legends, Risen, and Maurice McZeek and MDK. Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. For tickets and info, call 904-813-0085.
In our world, women wear many hats. Rather, she's our sister, auntie and mothers, or godmother. She tends to go out of her way to make everyone okay. But who checks on her? Lifetree Women Care Clinic believes in addressing all of women's health issues and preventative care issues to keep you going. Our state-of-the-art facility that can directly address all of a woman's health concerns. The caring staff of the Lifetree is waiting to serve you. Our director says it like this.
My goal is to meet every woman, one woman at a time, right where she is, and let her tell me what she needs so that we can work together to meet those needs.
Every woman deserves the best treatment, no matter what. We promise to treat the whole woman at the Lifetree Women's Care Clinic. Schedule your appointment today.
Isn't that the place to start?
Dreaming about having your own podcast? Want to share your thoughts and ideas with the world but don't know how to do it? Maybe you're excited and committed but don't have a good space to record. Would you like a professional environment to produce all of your podcasts? Well, we have the latest technology from 4K to HD and various set layouts from green screen rooms to live studios. The Inspire Network is an actual television station where our studios are available for rent and we offer editing suites with the latest technology. We have a makeup studio and beautiful spaces to prepare for your show. Don't forget to ask about our convenient photography studio to capture professional headshots or redefine your new look. Our state-of-the-art facility is intentionally laid out to accommodate your multimedia needs.
March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. It's Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, featuring Harvey Watkins and the Canton Spirituals, Zacardi Cortez, Tim Rogers and the Phillips, Keela Richardson, the Gospel Legends, Risen, and Maurice McZeek and MDK. Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. For tickets and info, call 904-813-0085.
In our world, women wear many hats. Rather, she's our sister, auntie and mothers, or godmother. She tends to go out of her way to make everyone okay. But who checks on her? Lifetree Women Care Clinic believes in addressing all of women's health issues and preventative care issues to keep you going. Our state-of-the-art facility that can directly address all of a woman's health concerns. The caring staff of the Lifetree is waiting to serve you. Our director says it like this.
My goal is to meet every woman, one woman at a time, right where she is, and let her tell me what she needs so that we can work together to meet those.
Every woman deserves the best treatment,
Of that
no
much
matter
I
what.
know I'm
We
sure.
promise to treat the whole woman at the Lifetree Women's Care Clinic.
Keep on
Schedule
laughing
your
at the
appointment today.
rain, I guess. Isn't that the place to start?
Dreaming about having your own podcast? Want to share your thoughts and ideas with the world but don't know how to do it? Maybe you're excited and committed but don't have a good space to record. Would you like a professional environment to produce all of your podcasts? Well, we have the latest technology from 4K to HD and various set layouts from green screen rooms to live studios. The Inspire Network is an actual television station where our studios are available for rent and we offer editing suites with the latest technology. We have a makeup studio and beautiful spaces to prepare for your show. Don't forget to ask about our convenient photography studio to capture professional headshots or redefine your new look. Our state-of-the-art facility is intentionally laid out to accommodate your multimedia needs.
March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. It's Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, featuring Harvey Watkins and the Canton Spirituals, Zacardi Cortez, Tim Rogers and the Fellas, Sheila Richardson, the Gospel Legends, Risen, and Maurice McZeek and MDK. Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. For tickets and info, call 904-813-0085.
In our world, women wear many hats. Rather she's our sister, auntie and mothers, or godmother, she tends to go out of her way to make everyone okay. But who checks on her? Lifetree Women Care Clinic believes in addressing all of women's health issues and preventative care issues to keep you going. Our state-of-the-art facility that can directly address all of a woman's health concerns. The very staff of the Lifetree is waiting to serve you. Our director says it like this.
My goal is to meet every woman, one woman at a time, right where she is, and let her tell me what she needs so that we can work together to meet those.
Every woman deserves the best treatment,
Of that
no matter
much I
what.
know I'm
We
sure.
promise to treat the whole woman at the Lifetree Women's Care Clinic.
Keep on
Schedule
laughing
your
at the
appointment today.
rain, I guess. Isn't that the place to start?
Dreaming about having your own podcast? Want to share your thoughts and ideas with the world but don't know how to do it? Maybe you're excited and committed but don't have a good space to record. Would you like a professional environment to produce all of your podcasts? Well, we have the latest technology from 4K to HD and various set layouts from green screen rooms to live studios. The Inspire Network is an actual television station where our studios are available for rent and we offer editing suites with the latest technology. We have a makeup studio and beautiful spaces to prepare for your show. Don't forget to ask about our convenient photography studio to capture professional headshots or redefine your new look. Our state-of-the-art facility is intentionally laid out to accommodate your multimedia needs.
Good evening, everyone. Please stand.
We have come over the way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our wearies, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you, Miss Murphy. can be seated. Welcome to the Jacksonville Branch's NAACP Candidate Forum this evening. I'm James Morton, the second Vice President of the Jacksonville Branch NAACP. How are you all this evening? Good. We are a 501c3, nonpartisan organization. This event will give the citizens of Jacksonville insight and the opportunity to select the candidates that align with their beliefs and values. Your participation this evening is vitally important because these particular candidates this evening will be selecting and creating and shaping the future of Jacksonville. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge my president, the president of the Jacksonville Branch NAACP, President Isaiah Rumlin. Would you like to have a few words to say, sir?
Good afternoon. I must be the oldest one in here because I'm the only one to have a mask other than another young lady that I saw, but COVID is still alive. So we need to take care of ourselves. But like James said, on behalf of the branch, we certainly would like to welcome you here this afternoon to listen to these fine candidates. After we have listened, it becomes our responsibility to make the decision as it relates to who we're going to vote for. We've always believed that we should vote our interests. If a candidate does not have our interests, then perhaps we need to look at another candidate. But it's always been our opinion that we should vote our interests and vote for those platforms that's going to further the advancement of black folks in this community. Again, thank you for coming. We look forward to hearing from you.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to introduce our moderator. I'd like to introduce her. She's an amazing woman, you all. I'm pleased to introduce her because she's an extraordinary woman who has made a tremendous impact on Jacksonville as a whole. She has dedicated her full life to connecting people and connecting the dots. Her attention to detail and commitment to excellence has earned her the reputation of being the catalyst of change. She works tirelessly to promote social causes, support charitable organizations, using her skills and expertise to make a real difference in the lives of people. Without further ado, introducing to some and presenting to others, Pat Gillum-Sams.
Good evening. Y'all can do better than that. Good evening. Thank you so much, James, for having me. And President Rumlin, where are you? Where did he go? I got my mask. I have it right here. And you're right. We must all be vigilant, and we need to protect all of the folks we love and even those we don't, and make sure they're good. I am excited to be here. And where is Miss Murphy? Miss Murphy, you are simply amazing. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. How appropriate is it that the NAACP would host this political forum on the next day of the last day of Black History Month? And what we're going to hear this evening isn't about Black folk. It's about our folk. It's about our community. It's about all of the folk that make a difference every single day And I am assuming all of you are those folks. So that's why we're here tonight. So I challenge each of us. It's incumbent, as Mr. Rumlin mentioned, it's incumbent upon each of us to do more than just vote. You hear about your vote being your voice, and that's true. But you must ensure that all voices are heard. You must ensure that you engage and that the young folks behind you see you engaging so that they understand the importance not only of their vote being their voice, but they must engage so that the whole community, especially those young people, those 18 to 25-year-olds, which I have a couple of them. I used to say they live with me, but they don't. So it's important that I've seeded in them so they can go out into the world and the cities they live in to seed into others. Okay? All right, very good. Well, I'm excited to moderate the city council races that we have going on, and that will be coming up soon. So let's get a few housekeeping rules out of the way. First up, and if you thought you were here just to listen, you were wrong. So this is participatory. When are we voting locally? Anybody who knows that answer, just shout it out. I heard a few dates. When are we voting locally here in Duval County? Okay, so I heard 6th through the 19th. That's early voting, y'all. So we know that the primary or the first election is March 21st, but we want to be voting by mail and early voting, which starts next week, the 6th. So that's what we need to advocate for. And then we know that we will have another election in May, right? We know that date is set for May 16th, but early voting will start prior to that. So we, again, need to be informed so we inform others, okay? All right. So, as I said, we will talk with the city council, the candidates running for city council, and we have broken those candidates that are here with us tonight. All of the candidates were invited. I want to make that clear. On the city council side as well as the mayoral candidates. They were all invited, and the ones that are here tonight are the ones we want to hear from. So with that being said, the city council candidates were broken into 3 groups. So the first group that we are going to talk with are the at-large candidates. So I'm going to be calling those folks up in just one moment, but just want to give you a little information about at-large city council members. In Jacksonville, Florida, the city council is the legislative body of the city government responsible for enacting local laws, ordinances, and policies that govern the city. The city council consists of 19 members, 14 of those members representing individual districts, and 5 serving as at-large council members. So tonight, we are going to talk with those 5. So I believe we have with us tonight Eric Parker. Come on down. Let's give him a round of applause. Joshua Hicks. Come on down, Joshua. Jack Meeks. Charles Garrison. And the 5th council candidate, I don't believe is here, but I want to make sure, Nishan Nix. Not here yet. Okay, very good. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. How are you doing? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get my notes. I apologize. You know what, Reginald? I did write you in. So, Reginald, come on down. Let's give him an extra applause. I apologize. My apology. Make yourself comfortable. Is there? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, just a few more housekeeping rules. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their opening statement to tell us who they are and why they're running for City Council at large. They will also be given 2 minutes to answer each of the questions. And then they will be given 2 minutes for their summary statement. So remember, 2, 2, and 2. And I have this capable young man, raise your hand, Kim, who will be keeping me honest so I can keep them honest. But I know I got all of y'all to keep me honest too, okay? All right, we ready to go? One last thing, because we have 3 groups, we may not get to everybody's question, but we're gonna try to take some questions from the audience, okay? So let's get started. I wanna start, I'm gonna go for the most part from you all the way down. So tell us who you are and why you want to be a city council member.
Good evening. My name is Eric Parker. I'm your candidate for Jacksonville City Council at large 1. I am born in Jacksonville, raised in Yulee, graduated from Fernandina Beach High School. Right after high school, I joined the Army Reserves as a military police officer. I served 9 years in the Army Reserves with 1 deployment to Iraq and 1 deployment to Guantanamo Bay. After my deployment to Guantanamo Bay, I came home, proposed to my wife at the airport, didn't waste any time. We bought a place on the north side of Jacksonville. We've been living there ever since, nearly a decade. I had a part-time job working at a local craft brewery, and during 2020, I saw how our state and local government passed ordinance that hurt small businesses, which we know now several didn't make it through the COVID pandemic. That's the moment I started going to city council meetings and started to speak up against, I went to speak on that bill, specifically fining small businesses $500 if they had 50 or more people on the property. And as you know, like there was a lot of hidden stuff in that bill, and the reason why they really did it, and in my opinion, it specifically hurt the minority community. That motivated me to keep going to Jacksonville City Council meetings and speaking up against corporate welfare, because while they were doing things that hurt small businesses, they were also doing special interest deals with the politically well-connected here in Jacksonville, and we see it happen at every city council meeting, every other week in Jacksonville. So I'm running to put a stop to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody. Can you hear me? Great. I'm Joshua Hicks. I'm your candidate for at-large Group 2. And you know what? What Ms. Pat said earlier is right. It's about showing up. I will always show up for you. My opponent's not here. He doesn't show up very often. He's had 3.5 years to lead our community. And what has he done? He's left a lot of people behind, and it's the same old, same old. My name's Joshua Hicks. I'm a career nonprofit professional. I'm a grunt worker, not an executive. I get my hands dirty in the community every day. I work for the Colorectal Cancer Alliance. There we go. I thought I wasn't on. I work for the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, a cancer organization. I've been there for 8 years, trying to help people survive cancer and beat cancer. Before that, I worked for the People for the American Way Foundation, the League of Conservation Voters, and the Service Employees International Union. My passion is community. My passion is to support our community. And we need people on the city council who has all of you at heart, not themselves, but you. It's about showing up. It's about working for our community. It's about working for our families, our neighbors, and getting things done. We need to address the septic tank issue that we continue to ignore. We're pretending like we're replacing them all, but we're not. We need to address the housing crisis. Even my councilman, Roy Diamond, admits there's a crisis, but they don't fund the crisis. We need to address that. We can't just talk about it. We need to address infrastructure, and that's streets, sidewalks, addressing food deserts. But it doesn't stop there. It's investing in our city parks. It's investing in our after-school programs so that our kids have a place to go and feel safe. We need to bring equity to the districts. I'm sorry, I'm tired of hearing that we can't. We're a wealthy city that can. We need voices on the city council. We don't need votes. My opponent likes to be a vote.
We're going to
I will be a voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joshua.
Good evening. My name is Reginald Blunt. I'm a native here in Jacksonville, Florida. Grew up right down the street at Grand Park. Attended the public schools. Went to Air Waters College on track and field scholarship a long time ago. I joined the military. Worked in special operations. I'm a 30-year retired military veteran. 4 combat tours, including Desert Storm, tour in Iraq, 2 in Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Bosnia and Kosovo. I have 6 children. They're actually adults. I still call them children because they keep asking me for money. So, yes. One reason why I'm running for city council, and listen to this, when after 30 years, I can come back and literally go on some areas of Sutel, and it looks exactly the same, that says no progress. No progress. Even on Arlington Expressway, no progress. There was a study that came out in 2008. It was called, I think, the Sherwood Development Plan. Beautiful report, beautiful. It cost somewhere around $250,000 to do that report. And the only people that made money was the architects, the landscapers, the architects, the developers, but it was a sold, empty dream to the community. And I said, this is absolutely ridiculous. As a city councilman, I want to do some audits. We need to find out where the money is going first and see how the money is being distributed. Why are we always over-allocated? Sutel Road Diet, $3 million or something, but there's only $1.2 million spent. Well, where's the rest of the money going? Well, it goes back into the coffers. Well, does it go into the next fiscal year budget? I don't think so. That money's going somewhere. And I think that's the start to do some audits. We can do a whole lot better as a city. I'm from the community, still live here, and I refuse to sit down and just not do absolutely nothing. People just need to be held accountable, and we need some council people. There's some good council people, because I know a lot of them, but we need more. we need some more innovation and some more balance in city council with people who have the moral courage to just say no when it has to be no. I'm Reginald Blunt for City Council at Large, Group 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jack Meeks, and I'm running for City Councilor Group 5 as well. And I've agreed with everything that's been said so far. The difference in terms of what I would want to bring to the council, I came here right out of college 50 years ago. And Mr. Rumlin, if I remember correctly, I'm a few months older than you are, although we were born in the same year. About 20 years ago, my wife and I bought a home in historic Springfield. So I've experienced what it's like to live in a part of Jacksonville that doesn't get the services in other parts of town. The difference, though, in terms of what I intend to do, and I've already begun doing this, I've been studying our financial statements because I've had a CPA career. I'm a certified fraud examiner. I've been studying our budgets, and believe me, we're not handling our money like we're supposed to. And if love supposedly makes the world go around, oftentimes I think it's money that does. So I really want to understand, and I've already got a variety of questions I've been asking. And to say I've gotten stiffed in the public information request I've made is a compliment to what I've received. So I'm supposed to say when I'm elected, but as a CPA, I'm a little bit hesitant to make predictions. So I'll say, assuming I'm elected, I don't think that they're going to be able to as easily put off the questions that I have. So thank you for your time and attention. Again, Jack Meeks for City Council Group 5.
Thank you, Jack. And our last candidate.
Good evening. How are you? Good. I'm Charles Garrison, and I'm running for Jacksonville City Council at Large, Group 5. I think it's pretty simple why I'm doing this is I'm tired of hearing about all of our potential. I'm tired of hearing about all of our potential. We're the city of renderings, a city of false promises and false hopes, and it's time to see our potential realized. I grew up in this area. I grew up in Middleburg, but I've lived and I've been here in Jacksonville ever since I was able, had my driver's license and was able to get out here. Jacksonville's my stomping grounds. I was in my early 20s. I was in the Florida Army National Guard Infantry, so go Army, hua. But right now, I currently serve on the Jacksonville Environmental Protection Board. I currently chair the Water Committee. Our natural resources, our waterways, are one of our greatest resources, and we need to continue to protect them, especially from overdevelopment. When it goes into different waterways, we need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves for smart development. And when it comes to building a vision forward for Jacksonville, I want to build a safe, welcoming, and vibrant city. A city that is able to create opportunities for everyone, that's full of culture. And how we're going to do that is I want to invest back into our city, invest back into our neighborhoods, our infrastructure, and our people. Infrastructure, neighborhoods, and people. That's how we can get there. Again, a safe, welcoming, and vibrant city. No more false promises, no more false hopes. We can do this. We can achieve and see our potential realized. Looking forward to the rest of the night. Thank you so much. I'm Charles Garrison, at-large Group 5. Thank you.
Charles, we're going to start with you for the first question.
Perfect.
So, how do you plan to represent the needs of the constituents from all across the entire city of Jacksonville? Jacksonville being the largest city in the continental USA, so that's a lot of folks, rather than just one specific district.
Yeah. So I think it's easy, I think. I mean, it's just because, I'm a white male doesn't mean I'm only going to represent white males. No, I'm a millennial. I'm gay. I'm an Army veteran. I'm many different things across the entire spectrum, right? Okay? So, you all right there, Jack?
I want to make sure you weren't going to hit me and you're exuberant.
I was. I'm so sorry. But no, we all want ultimately to see the best for our city, the best for our neighbors, and we can do it together. We don't have to be us versus them. That's what everyone is trying to do. That's how they continue to hold power. Us versus them. No, it's all of us in this together, right? And
I have a timer.
How much? I'm sorry.
It's 2 minutes.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, I mean, we can do this, and as we're working together, we'll be able to continue. Look, rising tides float all boats, right? And I hope as we continue for the next 22 days and then on to May 16th, call me, reach out to me, ask me questions. That's fine. We'll figure it out together. I don't have all the answers. I don't. But I promise you, I will listen to you. I will hear you out. And what's it? 904-866-2686. Call me, text me. Always. So, just to wrap it up is, again, we're in this together. You're my neighbor. I'm your neighbor. Right? We're not citizens. We're not residents. We're neighbors. We're here to create a community, a fabric of our entire city together. So, thank you.
Thank you. Jack, same question. How do you plan to represent the needs of all of the constituents in the city?
Well, the biggest thing to me is, I've been all over this town in the 50-year career that I've had. I've been in and out of all kinds of different businesses. I've met all kinds of different people. And in this campaign, I've done the same thing. And while there are a lot of differences, there are also a lot of commonalities. All of us want to live in a safe neighborhood. We all want opportunities for our families to succeed and prosper. Whether I had a get-together on the north side the other day, which is about as far from Charles and I live in the same neighborhood, historic Springfield, as you can get. And yet I hear the same sorts of things. We need improvements to infrastructure. We need this, we need that, a lot of commonality. And certainly in our neighborhood, it'd be hard to find, I think, a 1 square mile, Charles, where we have more diversity than we do in that 1 square mile. That if we can't find someone to relate to in our neighborhood, I think it would be tough. So in summary, I want to do the same thing on your council that I've done in my career and in this race, which is getting out and listening to people, meeting with people. So often I've heard in the course of this, our council people don't talk to us. They don't come and talk to us. They don't relate to us. They don't want to show up. I've heard that. I think you said that earlier, Joshua. They don't want to show up. Well, I don't mind doing that. In fact, I enjoy doing that. One of the parts of my career is about 30 years of that. I've been an expert witness in financial disputes. So I've made a career of asking and answering questions. So I don't mind doing that. So I want to be part of our whole overall community and meet with people. In fact, the first 6 months, I thought it'd be nice to try to get out to 2 districts in the first 6 or 7 months to see if I couldn't cover all the districts in that period of time. And hopefully the district council people would come with me. So in summary, I want to be a part of our community. I want to listen to what people have to say. I want to hear their concerns. I want to ask questions, and I want to respond accordingly.
Thank you. Reginald, same question.
Yes, the first thing I would do is I would want to find out what the people want by going to the communities and asking. You have neighborhood action committees, you have things with the CRA. I would ask them rather than pitching stuff to them. What is it that you need? And I would do that across the board. Then find out what capital improvement projects are out there so you're not pitching something that's already into play. Find out what's going on. Talk to city planners. Find out long term, what does the city say? And I think that's a big problem here. There's no vision. You know, they created something, a $500 million Mr. Rogers trolley to nowhere downtown. That wasn't good. And I would find out some real improvements that need to be done. And that's talking to the people first. And then come up with some type of strategic plan through each community and say, what is your top 5? What would you want to see in your community? A lot of people are simple. I want good parks. We want lights on the streets. We want good pavement, and start from there, because it makes no sense to just come into communities and you're going to just throw up a 4G, 4 or 5 power, cell tower. People don't know anything what's going on. So we got to get with the communities first. Also, when we talk about development, I feel like there should be cranes everywhere, all over the city, not just in one area. And that shows development that's happening. We know what this city is. We know that a lot of development is pushing west, northwest, not east. East is out to the beach. You're going to be on the water after a while. And we need to find out, what are we doing? We've already come up with a stadium project plan that I've shown to some people. And it's a large, it's a multi-purpose stadium with a place like this, kind of like an enterprise center. And the development, what we were thinking about is we need an anchor in the community, especially these communities up north, that holds everything together, because nobody's going to put a Nordstrom out there. They're just not going to build that. But if you build something that can anchor the community together, like a large stadium project that's a multiplex stadium that's used year-round, football, soccer, with
Reginald.
business centers.
I'm sorry.
This would
It's your time.
This would be something good, I think, for the community to start out with.
Thank you, Reginald. Joshua, same question.
Thank you. This is a great question. You know, it starts with using your voice, showing up, being present. We don't need career politicians. We need local community servants who are willing to get the job done. It starts with, yes, giving out your cell phone number so people can contact you. I still have a cell phone number from the 850 area code when I was in Tallahassee as a high school student working at Publix. I've had that phone number for 24 years, 850-445-1781. After 24 years, guess what? That number's not changing. Reach out to me. Talk to me. Let's discuss the issues we're facing here in Jacksonville. I'm going to open up 2 additional offices, not just my City Hall office, but 2 others, so that I can be responsive to you. And that, yes, includes taking a break from my full-time job that I do right now so that I can devote the council position to make it a full-time position, because that's what it should be. We have some council members who like to literally use part-time literally, and they barely show up. We need people to show up if we're going to address some of these problems. These aren't new problems that we're facing as a city. They've been here 55 plus years since consolidation, over 100 years, right? Infrastructure, housing, equity, addressing the Confederate monuments and taking them down, right? Why are we still debating that? The hate, the bigotry, it divides our community. It does not bring us together. We've had enough division. With the right community leaders on the council, we can act. We can help people. And that should be everyone on this stage, every candidate in this room. Our job as a local council, a local government, is to serve the community, to serve the people, not me. I was telling people earlier, I'll take a negative vote that hurts me politically if it helps all of you, period. Because it helps our community. I don't care about getting reelected. I'm only caring about this election coming up in 21 days. And then rolling up my sleeves for 4 years to actually help all of you. And then if you like me, I would appreciate your support and reelection after that.
Thank you,
but
Joshua.
Thank you, Pat.
Eric?
Thank you. Josh nailed it. First note I have here, show up. That's something my opponent hasn't been doing. He hasn't been at any of these political forums. He didn't answer any of the media's questionnaires. You can go to News for Jax, you go to Jax Today, you can see my answers. I've been showing up to these events as much as possible. Ask questions to all of the community, all of Jacksonville, and then be willing to listen. Don't just fill the void with words, but listen. You have one mouth, but 2 ears. Listen. Work together. Work together with people in our community, but also work together with your colleagues. I'm running as a third-party candidate, so I'm going to have to work across the aisles both ways to get anything done, to the left and to the right. Respond to emails and phone calls, 904-556-2431. Had the same phone number, I think, since high school, so don't plan on changing it. Like I said, work with your colleagues. Hopefully some of the great gentlemen up here on this forum will be working along with me. Now, what I'm not going to do is have a party allegiance. Like I said, I'm a third-party candidate. It's going to be a little difficult to get something accomplished with my one vote. I'm also not going to work with any special interests or any lobbyists or any consultants. I don't have connections with those people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know what, Eric? You kind of touched on something that I am personally curious about, so I'll start with you again. How do you plan to work as a new council person with the other council members to use the resources available for all the city?
Well, first, I'm going to listen to my constituents before I listen to my colleagues. Y'all's voice is what's important. So I'm going to have to boost your voice. I'll have an open door policy, and come see me if you have issues. And then if the issue is in a specific district, I'm going to go to the council person for that district, because you probably have already emailed and phone called them, hopefully, because that's our job as concerned citizens, to be in their inbox. But I'm going to go talk with them, and we're going to come up with a plan. Then we're going to take that. Obviously, the way it works is got to go through committee to get something done and get something changed. But there's other ways, too. We can get involved with the church. We can get involved with nonprofits. We can get involved with the civic community centers. And we have a lot of resources all over Jacksonville. And we have a lot of different diverse communities all over Jacksonville. What's good for Mandarin isn't the same thing as what they want on the north side or need on the north side. So I'm going to have to work with everyone, but we have the resources available.
Thank you so much. Josh?
Yeah, so, you have to work with your colleagues on the council. You need 10 votes to pass anything, right? But it's also important that you stand up for your values, you stand up for your community. And that means taking the tough vote if it's going to hurt you politically, but it's going to help our community. And that's what I'm going to do. I think, I can work with a Matt Carlucci, who's a Republican. I'm a Democrat, right? But guess what? He supports taking down the Confederate monuments. He supports investing in infrastructure. He supports some of these issues, but he's only one vote. His colleagues doesn't support him. So we need to have the right people on the council who are going to look out for the community and then form that alliance, might cross parties, to make sure that bipartisanship, which is a principle of local government, gets things done and takes no for an answer. We need to use our voice. So I'm going to rely on all of you. If they're saying no, I'm coming to you to use your voice, to put pressure on them to say yes. Because we can change this community, but we have to make sure that we're all in it. And those trying to do the negative, bad things, we say no. So I'll work across the aisle with Matt Carlucci. I'll work across the aisle with other members who have our interest in mind
and not the special interest. Because local government should, quite frankly, be about community. It shouldn't be about political party. We like to make it all about politics. Let the national politics stay national. Stop nationalizing local issues. Stop nationalizing our school board. Stop nationalizing our city council and focus on the issues that were needing to be addressed. Housing, infrastructure, small businesses, especially minority-owned small businesses who are being left behind because the city's not telling them when grants are available, right? We need better communication and we need better leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Reginald, same question. How do you plan to work with all the council members?
Well, first of all, respecting the council people who are there, one thing we have to note is that when you're a junior councilman coming in, nobody's just going to submit to your will of what you want to do. You got to listen to the people around you. You should study the voting record of those councilmen that are in there who are incumbents and they get back in. You need to look at their record and see how they vote. That does not cut off everything, but at least it gives you an idea of who they are, what their values are, and how they think. And then you got to be willing to sit at the table, and sometimes you have to compromise because you just cannot hammer everything you want, and see if you have some like-minded ideas. And then a good thing, especially for an at-large person, go to the council meeting with that District 10 or that District 9 or District 14. Get invited to go to the neighborhood committee, the meetings that they have, the CPACs and everything, and just find out what that council person is doing. And since you're an at-large, to figure out if you can help in that area or how you all can cooperate to get things done. And you also have to know what the community actually wants. Because sometimes these initiatives come down, they are not good for the community. They are all special interests. Believe me, there's people out there that they know all parts of this city. And one thing that's really bad is land usage and zoning. Who wants to have a $200,000, $700,000 house? Next thing you know, you got some factory they done built in the back. Those things are worth fighting. I hate to see that. But if you don't come to the meetings, if you're not paying attention, these kind of things can happen.
Thank you.
I intend to work with the other council people.
Thank you, Reginald. Jack, same question.
Well, a couple of things. There's everything that everyone else has said I basically agree with. A couple of things I would bring, though, to the table is the financial background I have. And as I mentioned before, I've been studying the finances of our city, and they're a lot scarier than what I imagined. And so, as an example, I was surprised to find out that the city hasn't been reconciling its bank statements on a current basis. Well, how many of you think you need to reconcile your bank statements on a current basis? So one of the things I would want to do is, and I've met most of the council members, it became a way of life for my wife and me when we bought our home in historic Springfield 20 years ago to interact with council people and try to get things done. And we made donations to council people. Oftentimes, I thought that was a poor investment in light of what we were able to accomplish, and hence I'm standing in front of you tonight. And by the way, my cell phone number is 904-210-5742, and I did not have a cell phone in high school for the rest of you smart alecks who talk about that. Charles. So here are some of the issues that I don't think are being, this is one issue, or they come together. Everybody wants public safety. Did you know that we used to have 600 or 700 people on a waiting list for our firefighters? That number is now 0. Did you know that the firefighters and the JSO are both saying we need to go back to what's called a defined benefit pension plan? And yet the defined benefit pension plan that we have 8 years ago, when I was on the Sheriff's Resource Task Force, had a $1.5 billion deficit. Now it's $3.1 billion. It's been growing at about $200 million a year. So these are some issues that are really colliding in our city. We all want a lot of stuff, but how are we going to get those things in light of our financial circumstances? So is my 2 minutes up before I continue this tirade?
One last statement. 1 second.
Help me get elected.
Thank you, thank you. Charles.
Comedy hour over here. That's true, that's true. as Jack said, I mean, there's a lot of great statements have been made up here already, so I'm not going to, beat the dead horse over here. But, I mean, if you want to just check my record while I've been on the Jacksonville Environmental Protection Board, check my record while I've been on the Jacksonville Housing and Community Development Commission. When I got onto those commissions and the board, I dug in, did the hard work, researched the topics, found out what needs to be, done, and then begin to work with each one of those members of the public to get good things passed for all of us, right? So, I mean, I have a record. Go back and look at it, and I will continue to do the same. But more than that, I think it was Josh was really talking about, and is bringing you, us, our neighbors, the community, back into the process. I think you should expect 32% turnout. That's pitiful. But when the city and our government hasn't been there for us, why would they want to? Why do they want to show up? So we have to be back into the neighborhoods, back into our communities, reaching out to them, because engagement equals power. Power for you, power for your family, power for your community, right? So that's where we need to start, getting back out and meeting our neighbors where they are, not asking them to come meet us where we are. That's not going to get us anywhere, right? So that's exactly what I want to do.
Thank you so much. So in full transparency, these guys said a lot, so no questions for you on this round, but we are going to close it with the closing statement, and I'm going to have to only give you 1 minute for closing statements, okay? 1 minute. And we're going to start with Reginald Blunt. 1 minute to tell us anything you haven't told us already and why we should vote for you.
Okay. I would like to receive your vote because I have a vested interest in this community. I grew up here, went to Edward Waters, adjunct at Florida State College. This is my town, this is my neighborhood, and I refuse to just watch and see it go down. I worked in civil military governance, in special operations, in some of the most dangerous environments in the world. And we were able to reconstruct and put on med caps and do different things like that for foreigners abroad. And when I said I come back home, I'm coming back home to fight for my neighborhood and to fight for my community. The police asked me one day, why don't you do a ride-along? For what? I do a walk-along. I know who the gang members are. I've talked to them. I've seen them, and I'm not going to treat them like, animals. I'm going to talk to them and find out what can we do to make things better. So I want to receive your vote for at-large, City Council at-large 5. I'm Reginald Blunt. Thank you.
Joshua?
Thank you. We have some good apples on the commission, on the council, trying to do some good work. We have a lot of bad apples on the council. My opponent's one of them. He's a vote. He's not a voice. He bows down to the mayor, the governor, does their bidding, doesn't do ours. I've been in this race since June of 2021, more than a year and a half now, as a council candidate, because it was important to me that I met the community, I met our neighbors, I met our families, I met our friends. I went out there and talked about our needs, talked about the issues, talked about the problems, heard septic tanks. We've seen the Confederate monuments and the hate that still exists in our community by some. We've heard housing. We've heard infrastructure. These are functions that the city should just be doing with their eyes closed, right? But yet for us, it's a struggle. And that's because we don't have enough good leaders on the council. So my name's Joshua Hicks. I'm your candidate for at-large Group 2. I'm on every single one of your ballot. On March 21st, you can vote by mail. You can vote early on March 6th, and you can vote on Election Day on March 21st, and I would be honored to get each and every one of your vote, and reach out to me. You can always find my information, and I'll return your call. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack?
Well, again, I'm Jack Meeks, and I'm running for Group 5, I think it is. Right, Reginald? It's Group 5? Is that right? we only have 5. Well, a couple of things I'd like to emphasize. I've heard a lot about investment, and at the risk of bragging a little bit, my wife and I have invested in this community, in our city, in a big-time way, whether it's the properties that we own, I've called a lot of them love projects. That is to say, we invest more money than the properties are initially worth, and sometimes it might take us 10 or 20 years to catch up with that. So that's, when I'm asking the city to do something, it's nothing that we already haven't done. We've invested in charities in this community in a big-time way. So we're invested in this community. The other thing I'd like to say is I'm no party affiliation either, and I wish it was no party designations for city council, because I agree, whoever said national politics distract from the things that we need to do in our city. A pothole doesn't have a Democrat or Republican on it. We all want the same things. It's who can talk about those things intelligently and deal with the financial aspects of it, and hopefully persuade some people to go along with, here's the financial realities of what we need to do. I mean, does anybody here want to pay more taxes? No. No, but do you want the things that we
Jack,
talked
on that
about?
note. On that note. Thank you, Jack. Eric?
Thank you for having me. Eric Parker, I'm your candidate for Jacksonville City Council at Large 1. Just remember, as I said in my opening statement, I will continue to show up for you in all of Jacksonville. I'm running Libertarian Party of Florida on the ballot. If you're wondering what LPF stands for, that's what it stands for. I have one opponent, and he's running as a Republican. And like I said, he will continue to show up for you the same way he does showing up to these forums and answering the hard questions. With that being said, I have cards in the back. I have yard signs available out in the car. Let me know if you want one. My website is ericparkerforjax.com, FORJAX.com. I have a campaign Facebook page, Eric Parker for Jacksonville City Council at Large 1. Please send me a message. Most of you, if you remember my phone number, send me a text, 904-556-2431. For the record, whenever I had it back in high school, it was a flip phone. So, you know. All right.
Thank you, Eric. Last but not least, Charles.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You had the flip phone. I had that little Nokia brick. You know, that's just me. But anyway. All right. Thank you all for coming and hearing us talk on and on and on. But really, we have true passion for this. Passion for all of you. Passion for our city. We love this city. We want to do the best for it. But I'm not just showing up here because I'm running for city council. I've been in this community, been here before, many times in the same building. When I was a mortgage loan officer, I would come and give first-time homebuyer education classes, right? Talking about the American dream. That's exactly what I want to help make happen here in Jacksonville. We're in this together. We're in this together. I want to build for Jacksonville. Safe, welcoming, and vibrant city, right? That's what our vision is for. We can do this. I'm Charles Garrison, running for at-large Group 5. Appreciate it and looking forward to it. And I'll see you on the other side.
Let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Next, we're going to hear from Group 2, and that consists of districts 10, 7, 14, and 2. So I believe we have with us Vanessa Hopkins.
That's me, folks.
Join us up front. And Keishan Chambliss. Thank you. John Phillips. Raman Johnson. Jennifer Casey. And is Kim Pryor here? Let's give them a couple of minutes to get settled. Oh, yes, do that, please. And we have Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman. You can join us up front as well. We got a chair for you, Jacoby.
Rolling chairs. We improvise. We make things happen.
Uh-oh.
Try not to tear things up.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. So we are going to get right to it, and just like the last time, we're going to open with 2 minutes, and we're going to start to my immediate right. So if you will stand and give us 2 minutes of an opening statement. If I can get the noise level, I don't know if it's in the hallway, just want to make sure everybody can hear. Very good. Go right ahead.
There's no mic. Don't worry. Thank you. Testing. All right. My name is Vanessa Collins Hopkins. I'm running for City Council member District 10. That's the north side. I have lived in District 10 off and on since I've been age 10. I say off and on because I have lived in New York, I've lived in Baltimore, and I came back to Jacksonville in 2007, and I have lived in the same house with my husband since. That's the family house. That's the source of our legacy in my family. We bought it off of the kids when my father died. I love the north side, I love where we live, but I'm upset with how it has been deteriorating when we should be building it up for a legacy for all of our children. To make a long story short, I'm here to represent you. I have experience representing people across the world. I worked for a nonprofit that worked internationally, and I know how to both lead and also follow to get change done. My previous work was in medicine, VP for Medical Affairs, Planned Parenthood Federation of America, among other jobs. So I know how things are supposed to work, and it's supposed to work grassroots from the community. And that's why I want to hear from my community more. I've already heard from my community, and you're right, septic tanks need to go. We need crosswalks. We need the potholes fixed. We need repaving.
Ms.
We
Hopkins,
need water roads.
That's your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I will continue later.
Councilwoman Jacoby, welcome, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I do show up. So first of all, I want to say thank you all for giving me this opportunity. My name is Jacoby Pittman, and I am the CEO and president of the Clara White Mission. I've been there for 30 years. I've also been on the council for 4.5 years. Prior to having an opportunity to be appointed by the governor, I had an opportunity to run and be elected by the constituents of Jacksonville. I think most of you all that know me up close and personal, I care about this community. Prior to ever being involved in politics, I let my record speak for itself. I am a person who have proven leadership. I will continue to provide proven leadership, even if I have to stand alone on the council. And there have been times where I have stood alone on the council. But due to redistricting, fortunately or unfortunately, I am still willing to work to take the success that I've done in District 7. Recently, this is hot off the press. I heard someone talk about studies. We don't need no more studies. If we did a study today, I promise that we will have the same results that we had 20 years ago. I think I've had my 2 minutes. Okay. So I will continue to share with y'all what I have done on council and in the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Keishan?
I'm locked in back here. May I move over here a little bit?
You may.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. How's everybody? Great. Hi, my name is Dr. Keishan Chambliss. I'm born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. I've been in District 10 for 53 years, so I was there the entire time, didn't change 6 months ago, 5 days ago, anything. I've been in all my life. I'm currently in the military. I've been serving for 32 years, going on 33. I'm a lieutenant colonel in Florida Air National Guard. My job is the health service administrator, and what I do is make sure that the airmen are fit to fight mentally and physically for wartime, and during peacetime, we want to make sure that they're healthy as well. My background in social services is I've been working in social services, I would say, over 25 years. Started off as a behaviorist, a case manager, working with children with severely emotionally disturbed. Then went on to become a behaviorist, mental health therapist, and then I did therapy, became a mental health counselor for Community Connection for the homeless women and children, and I enjoyed that very much. Now I'm a support coordinator. I coordinate services for developmental disabled. Why am I running? Because I'm dissatisfied with leadership. I've been a leader for over 32 years, going on 33, or 33 it will be April the 5th. And what I want to do, we need change. We need to care about the people. We need change. I believe personally that a true leader is a servant. You hear what's going on, you do something about it. I have a big heart for definitely for our youth, but I want to see changes, not just only for myself, but for my legacy. When I do well for the community, I'm doing well for myself as well as my legacy. Still have time?
Yes.
Okay, good. My priorities is youth, education, infrastructure, development, and mental health. Again, I love my people. I want to see changes. When you elect me, I'm going to work for my people. So we're going to work together to make this happen. It's not going to be just me, but I want you to come down also and give your voice so we can make changes in the community. District 10, vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. There it is. So my name's John Phillips. I'm running, Kim and I are running for District 7. And I have a job. I've been some of your lawyer for 23 years. I don't need a job. This isn't a job. It's time for change, but it's time for compassion, right? It's time for leaders that actually care about people, and it's time for action. It's time to get rid of, and I'm going to say it, to do nothing and say nothing, and the folks that divide us. And I'm going to call them out by name. Brian Hughes, Tim Baker, Jordan Ellsbury. Folks, we can't let these carpetbaggers come to our town and lead us around. We got 1,000 murders in 7 years. That's unacceptable. 400 to 500 deaths by overdose. And I've been told twice in this same week, JSO won't pick up the bodies. And kids are seeing them. That happened in North Riverside. Flooding, they won't fix. We flooded out of our house. A housing crisis. Jacksonville is great at paying for wants. Not so good at paying for needs. Not so good for subsidizing equality. Like, we've got to lift up. All the other problems solve themselves. So I show up. I've been showing up in living rooms, courtrooms. I came here directly from litigating a case against JSO and OGC in City Hall today. And we're going to keep fighting. I've enjoyed fighting and love fighting with the NAACP. And now I want to fight for you.
Thank you. Rodman?
Democrat born, Democrat bred, and when I die, I'll be a Democrat dead. And I'm not embarrassed of it. My name is Rockman Johnson, and I am your next council person for District 14 on the Jacksonville City Council. The reason that I want to tell you this, and this is home for me. The NAACP, I am a former president of the Jacksonville branch of the NAACP Youth Council, and also the president of the Florida State NAACP Youth Council. So I'm home. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to run in this race because we have an opportunity for change. I am currently a professor of journalism and communications at Edward Waters University, where I got my undergraduate degrees from, graduate degrees at Seton Hall University in communications, and I'm currently a PhD candidate at Jackson State University. So I come to the table with the education and the experience, but what's most important is the passion and the desire. And I'm sure in the time that we spend together this evening, I'll be able to answer some of those questions, but I want to leave you with something very quickly as we talk tonight. You know, I was looking up something about relay races, right? Because we're all in a race. And in a relay race, when you're running, it's important for the person who's holding the baton to pass the baton on to the next person. Because if you don't pass the baton, you are disqualified. In my race, there are two other people who have run for city council before. Those two other people have served on city council, one 20 and one 30 years ago. I bring to the table innovation and energy to tell you that it's time for the baton to be passed on so that we are preparing to pass it on to the next generation. We'll talk about it some more. Rockman Johnson for City Council, District 14. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Casey. I'm running for City Council District 2, which includes parts of the North Side and East Arlington. I'm third generation Jacksonville. I grew up in Oak Hill on the West Side, and I've lived in Ocean Way with my husband, David. We've been married for 23 years. We have 3 children, 2 grown sons, both in college, and a 16-year-old daughter who we adopted in 2009. I mentioned I was third generation Jacksonville. I'm actually really grateful to be in this city. My grandparents were sharecroppers in South Georgia. My granddaddy had 22 brothers and sisters, and he could not read or write because he had to quit school to work on the farm. And so he came to Jacksonville at 15 years old and got a job at the Florida Steel Mill. And then my dad followed him into working there, and the steel mill paid for my dad to go to the college, the first in his family. And I'm the first in my family to get an advanced degree. And I used that degree to become a special education teacher, where I've worked in the lives of your young people, helping them every day in the classroom. And that experience has helped me really see the needs in Jacksonville's families. We have a lot of work to do. We need to fight crime. We need more community policing, need more officers on the street, need to take time to build trust in the neighborhoods. We need to improve our infrastructure. Our roads, our sidewalks, and our parks are all in disrepair. And finally, I think we need to put our citizens first. It's about time. As I've knocked the doors of over 5,000 voters in my district, they tell me time and time again that they're looking for transparency, accountability, and accessibility. And I'm the only candidate in my race that's committed to serving full-time as your council member. I'm not the only one here tonight that said that, and the reason is because there's a real need for us to be dedicated to our districts. And so I'm committed to do that today to you, and I look forward to answering your questions.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate being here. My name is Kim Pryor, and I am your city council candidate for District 7. I grew up in a little small town right outside of Mobile, Alabama, and in February of '93, I moved here for a job that I worked for 28 years here in District 7. My daughter was born here at St. Vincent's. She is currently active duty Air Force, serving in New Jersey. She and her husband has a husband, and I have 2 grandsons. I miss them. So I really care about what happens with our district. I care about you. I care about us. I am somebody that if you come to me and ask me for help, I am going to do whatever I got to do to try to help you out. That's what it's about. It is not about somebody sitting up at city council trying to pad their own pocket.
Not here.
It is not about sitting up there and trying to do these backroom deals and say, oh, you help me do this and I'll help you do that. No. We're way past that. It is time to elect people who care about us and not about themselves. And I'm here to tell you that I am that person. I truly do care. You can ask my neighbors. You know, I'm already doing this kind of work for them. In 2015, I was appointed by Mayor Alvin Brown to serve on the Urban Core CPAC. And I have done that. Since then, I have served 3 years as vice chair, and I've just finished up my 3rd year as chair. So I'm familiar with what's going on in our city and in District 7. And, you know, if there's one thing I can leave you with during this introduction here is that I truly do care about us. Thank you.
You can keep standing because we're going to start the next question with you. To the point you just made of our city and how deserving we are for a good quality of life, how will you work to address crime and safety issues in the city, particularly in the neighborhoods with higher crime rates? You have, oh, guys, there are a lot of them, right? They have 1 minute to answer the questions.
Wow,
Kim?
1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
There is really no way I can adequately answer that question in 1 minute, so I will do the very best that I can. So, number one is we need to address crime where it starts and find out what is causing our young people to turn to crime. Are they trying to do this because they don't have valid housing, or they can't get good food, or mom's having to work 2 jobs and dad's not around, and so the 11-year-old is having to take care of the 7 and the 3-year-old at home without, adult supervision? We need to take better care of our community. I think that we should take some of the JSO budget, that half of our budget that goes to JSO, and redirect those funds to more programs for our children. And that's really where we need to start. That's the foundation. Our children are the foundation of our future, and we need to do whatever we have to do to protect them and help them to become contributing members of our community.
Thank you. Jennifer?
So I live in 32218. It's the zip code with the highest overdose rate in the county. And I'm heartbroken about the loss of life we have in our city. I'm heartbroken that our young people don't have purpose and destiny in mind. And so I think that we need to do a better job of prevention and intervention programs. I see as I've visited businesses that they tell me that the entry-level workforce isn't ready to work. So you can solve 2 problems at once by getting young people off the streets and into workforce readiness programs. That's something we can do with our existing community centers. But I think that crime, hits us close to home. It hits us closer than any other city problems. And I think that, I'm concerned when my grandmother tells me that she lives right around the corner on West 12th, and she tells me that, someone was shot and killed in the lot across from them. Like, that just shouldn't be. Crime affects all of us. It doesn't matter what color we are. It doesn't matter our creed. It doesn't matter our background. It affects our entire city. And so I would work hard.
Jennifer, I'm sorry. Your time. Thank you. Raman?
In the words of the immortal poet, and I've used these words before, the immortal poet Nino Brown, scared money don't make none. Come on, y'all. Some of y'all watch New Jack City. I said scared money don't make none. That means we need to invest in our communities, right? I was looking at some numbers. The Department of Justice says that we have about 1.6 police officers per 1,000 people. We really need about 2.7 to 2.9 officers per 1,000 people. So we can't help the problem along if we don't invest in the city. It takes making sure those things happen. In my district on Youngerman Circle, it has the highest murder rate. I didn't even realize this until I started to do some research. Highest murder rate because of those or death rate because of the hotels there on Youngerman Circle. There comes a time when sometimes we have got to do the right thing to say these places must be closed. So we must not only invest in law enforcement, but we also have to be vigilant. If you see something, say something, and make sure that we become partners with the police so that we can take our communities forward. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Amazing. That's it. Everybody wave at Miss Beverly over there. Miss Beverly. So we've got groups like Families of Slain Children and Mad Dads, but yet we fund these groups from out of town. And we've got to refocus. Like Mad Dads walks the blocks, knows the blocks. They actually help people and encourage people to call Crime Stoppers and actually help with the crime directly. Nobody running can say they've been in as many living rooms and have been touched by as many families that I have since Jordan Davis. And that is not a credit to me. That's a credit to Lucy McBath and Ron Davis, who lost Jordan Davis 10 years ago. And it's the tragedy that breaks up families. Who's here's lost somebody to violence? Yeah, multiple hands. It's here. It's us. And we've got to look at JSO's budget, but we've got to spend wisely and reward, these nonprofits that aren't even getting coaching. I mean, somebody said it in the last panel, that aren't even getting coaching on how to get the grants or the city money because it's being soaked up for other causes. So it's a 5 to 9 job as well as a 9 to 5 job to help people have value, bring back Jack's Journey, Red Caps. Like we've stripped options.
Thank you. Keishan?
Okay. Like they say, 1 minute, that's pretty quick. But anyway, when it comes to crime, of course, it's all-time high all over Jacksonville. And what I would say is we need to work together. We work with JSO, we work with neighborhood, and we be accountable. We work together to reduce crime. I talked to a lady a couple of weeks ago, and she was telling me how they came together when they had some teenagers just, have disarray in their community. And what they decided to do is they worked together and they reduced the crime. Matter of fact, they drove those teenagers out of their area, so it stopped. So I believe in partnership or collaboration, working together with JSO. All JSO is not bad. Secondly, we were talking about prevention as far as with the youth. We need to start mentoring children as early as elementary school. Back in the day, we used to have officer friendly. You don't even hear about that anymore. We start off with kindergarten all the way to high school. We need to be mentoring these kids for the entire time so we can be more preventive rather than reactive. And I think the mentorship should continue to just carry on. I think that's very much needed. That's what I would say about the whole entire situation. Working together and mentorship, because all kids don't want to go to college.
Keishan.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know it's not a lot of time. Jacoby?
Thank you. I've already been working with JSO. One of the things I wish we can bring back to the community, I'm sure a lot of you all remember, is the neighborhood intensive programs. And when we had those programs in our neighborhood, we saw crime decrease immensely. And when you talk about 7, 8, 9, and 10, those communities have been left behind. And so that also means that we have to bring resources in a community. We cannot compare ourselves with across the water, but we have to be intentional about putting dollars in our neighborhood. And that's what I have been working on, and I will continue to work on. It is important and imperative. I will tell you that I've gone to the drug traps and I've asked those drug dealers, what is it can you do to help us in this community? And one of the things, or several of the things that they've told me, we need programs, after school programs. So my time, it's over. But it's not over for my children, my grandchildren, my nieces and nephews. I want programs. One of the things that I've done, is put Boys and Girls Club in Clanzell Brown, but I'll finish telling you about the other things that I've done. Thank you.
Thank you. I also believe in neighborhood and community partnerships with JSO, increasing the amount of community policing that we have. Those little bicycle patrols that you see downtown, why can't we have it in our community on the north side in District 10? Why can't we have the golf cart patrols in District 10? We can. We should not be scared of District 10. I'm not afraid of District 10. District 10 contains 45th and Moncrief. I'm not afraid of 45th and Moncrief, and neither should our officers or our leaders be afraid of the north side. We need investment, as everybody has said, but we need more investment on the north side. Do you know that in District 10, we're going to be housing the homeless? All of Salzbacher's Women and Children's Center is in District 10, and we're getting ready to have the homeless men's shelter built on Walgreen Road.
Vanessa.
Well, these are reasons why we need increased investment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. So our next question will begin with John. So John gets the mic.
Thank you.
We can all agree that housing all over the country is at all-time high. And in Jacksonville, when I look around, I think I'm in Washington, D.C., New York, or Seattle on the West Coast with the cost. So The question is, what is your position on affordable housing in Jacksonville, and what measures do you plan to take to address the shortage of affordable, safe housing options?
Starts with the Tenants' Bill of Rights. That's first legislation out of the chute with us. But affordable housing, folks, and I've done enough of these forums that people don't quite get it. Affordable housing is not another apartment complex. I've represented way too many victims of shootings in those places. It's what's happened, and we just let it go, is the same groups have bought up hundreds of houses. And what they do? Raise the rent? And then you got to go. And so then, we have more crime clusters in this town because there's not enough jobs. So we've got to create more tenant-friendly legislation and incentivize homeownership, because that's the American dream. It ain't apartment rent. It ain't paying somebody else's property investment. It's actually owning a home, which creates pride in the community, which enables all of us to come together, paint each other's houses, whatever it takes from 5 to 9, to create a spark that we're all united around a separate mission. That's the start. That's the 1-minute answer.
Thank you. Rahman?
I'm happy to say that I'm the only candidate in my race that has been endorsed by the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors after they saw the plan that I put forth and to try to look at innovation for affordable housing in Jacksonville. I think it takes innovation, right? Yeah, we do want to incentivize home ownership, but sometimes it can't be traditional housing. I had a chance to speak with some friends over in Los Angeles who were looking at some innovative ways and things that they were doing, which I thought was really smart. Tiny house communities, boxcar communities. Those are things that we can take recycled materials and find ways, even modular homes. A lot of us think that housing comes in one way, shape, or form, but there's some people who are really thriving and surviving in the tiny house model. So what we have to do is stop looking at the traditional way of doing things, finding innovation, which is one of the things I set forth in the plan, and you can find it on my website, rahman.vote, RAHMAN.VOTE, because that's what I want y'all to do. But go to this site, check it out. You'll see the plan where it talks specifically about what we want to do for affordable housing in Jacksonville. Thank you.
Thank you. Keishan? Keishan?
She's mixing it up.
All right, I'm gonna stick to the time. Okay, so affordable housing is a great program that we have. Again, when we have these programs like that, we need to make sure that, again, the ones that own these housing, to make sure the rent will continue to go sky high, because that's going to increase our homelessness. Also, like he stated before about, give those people that are, wanting to get their own places, we need to refer them to different resources so that they can get like places like NAACP and different places like that. If they want to have their own places, places to stay, they should be referred out to different places. There's like things like grants for that first-time home buyer. So again, affordable housing, it should be affordable for all. It shouldn't get so capped. They should be capped as far as the housing prices, but also we need to refer the individuals about getting houses, about different incentives like the NAACP, and also there's grants and stuff for it. So that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer?
So I have 2 grown sons that are living at home because they can't afford an apartment in Jacksonville. So I relate to the need for affordable housing. I do think we can continue to advocate at the state level with the Florida legislature for more workforce housing in Jacksonville. And I think that we need to look at public transportation, too, as a critical piece of the puzzle. Because in the north side, in Oshaway, in my district, we don't have any public transportation. And so when we're thinking about affordable housing and people having more money in their pockets to spend on housing, if we can improve public transit, quality public transit, maybe something innovative and hyper-local within communities, we can actually make it for people to be able to afford something really nice to live in. And so that's
Thank you. Kim?
This one works. So one of the things that we can do, and people have been trying to solve this issue for a long time, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are today. So everything that we're talking about is something that, well, let's see what we can see if we can try it and see if it works. So basic economics is going to say that the more supply you have, then the lower the cost is going to be, right? So one of the things that we can do is to build more houses and build more places for people to live. And how are we going to do that? We give an awful lot of money and incentives and so forth to developers. So why don't we take a look at and think about taking 2% of that money that we give to a developer and put it in a fund that we use to then build affordable housing for people? You know, all of the incentives don't have to go to the developer doing that particular project, but if we have money available, then let's see if we can move it around a little bit. I hate these 1 minute answers.
I'm so sorry. If you could pass it down to Vanessa.
Thank you. I agree we need innovation in terms of our housing crisis. Some of the innovation has to do with having the funds to be able to buy that first home. We need to have revolving loans that are available to people. We need to help people that have houses in their family keep those houses in their family and not lose them through issues around probate and no wills. This is a huge situation out there as it relates to what prevents us from having affordable housing. The city council had their critical quality of life subcommittee, and I know I got that wrong, but there's a lot in that report that talks about affordable housing and how we can do things more innovatively in terms of affordable housing. It all boils down to investment and hearing what the community wants and working with the community to come up with innovations as it relates to affordable housing. Tiny houses, ADUs, those are the accessory dwelling units.
Vanessa.
That's legislation. And city council is legislation.
Thank you. City Councilwoman Pittman.
Thanks, Vanessa. That was a great segue. Recently, I chaired the Affordable Housing on the Quality of Life and had an opportunity to talk to not only tenants, but builders, the homeless. You know, we all deserve affordable housing. And of course, affordable housing means different things to different people. But at the end of the day, I think that we have to be diversified when we talk about affordable housing. You know, our economy has crashed over the years. We've had COVID. There's a lot of moving parts that have happened over the years. And so I am in the process right now of developing legislation for affordable housing, as well as funding being set aside for housing to do the study. So stay tuned and look for me in pushing the affordable housing in Jacksonville.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacoby. We are going to go to our closing statements, and you have 1 minute to tell us anything you've not told us already and why we should vote for you. And we're going to start with you, Kim.
Bottom line here is that we deserve a leader who is going to be honest and transparent and responsive. Someone who is going to do what it takes, who's going to fight for us and move us forward. I am that person because I care. I live here too. And if we move District 7, which is in the middle of the city, if we can move District 7 forward and start that going forward, and guess what? The rest of the city is going to follow. But it's going to take somebody in there willing to fight. And I am that person. As someone else says, I believe Casey said, I also, when I'm elected, I'm not going to have another 40-hour work week job that's going to be pulling me away. I'm going to be 100% focused on us. And that's really what's important.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Jennifer?
I have the honor of being endorsed by former Mayor John Delaney, who was known for working across the aisle to get things done in this city. I have the endorsement of the North Florida Central Labor Council and the trades unions, from the Municipal Union, and I share all that to say that the working people of Jacksonville support me in my race for City Council District 2. And I had the privilege of being elected in 2018 and serving on the Soil and Water Board as chair. And we did a project where we converted contaminated land in the urban core to a biodiversity project. And I'm really proud of that project. But one day when we were out on the site moving mulch, and a gentleman was walking around along the S line, and he came over and he picked up a shovel and he just joined us in shoveling mulch. And we said to him, what compelled you to come over and join us today? And he pointed to the corner and he said, my son was shot and killed at that corner, and I just want to do something good where something terrible happened. His spirit that day is what we need more of in Jacksonville. And my pastor said it on Sunday, Bishop George Davis at Impact Church. He said, we actually have to fix what's broken. Anything else is
Thank
lip
you,
service.
Jennifer. Thank you so much. Raman?
Again, thank you for the opportunity to come back home to the NAACP. And I want to say this has been, the opportunity was not something that I had thought about or wanted to do. I could tell you that I was elected to office 25 years ago, y'all. I know some don't seem like 25, but I was elected 25 years ago. And since then went on to have a great career as a storyteller, on television, and a reporter and a news anchor and all those other wonderful things. But I think at the end of the day, the unique opportunity that I will have on City Council to bring voice to your stories is why I am running. Every time that I walk in my community, in communities where people do not look like me, and I'm able to look at them and get the information from them, I want to amplify that voice. Diversity is important. As many of you know through redistricting, even though our city is browner on paper, we won't be as brown on the City Council. And diversity is key to making our community move forward. Please remember me, Rockman Johnson, your next councilman for District 14. Please go by my website, rockman.vote. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
My approach is macro and micro, right? We're going to change up the way City Council is done in Jacksonville, Florida, right? We've got Ben Crump's endorsement and Congresswoman Lucy McBath and Aaron Brockovich. Like, people that don't otherwise necessarily care about Jacksonville are like, hold on, there's something special going on there. We're going to speak truth to power and make sure that when we don't have the votes, that we have you on City Hall steps. And we show them we're going to get the votes next time. And you can either be with us or you can be against us. We're going to get micro, and then we're going to show up every single day. I'll give you my cell phone after. I'm not wasting my minute. And we're going to communicate, and we're going to bring compassion. But it starts with voting, folks. You have to vote and take people out, because otherwise, like District 7 is 40% minority, over 40% minority, 30% Republican. But guess who's going to show up? Right? The same people that have gotten us in.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Keishan?
Okay. Again, I come to you again, ask for your vote. This will be my first time as far as a political forum or a political candidate going through the whole not new at being a leader. I've been leading for over 32 years, going on 33. I love my people, and when I lead you, I'm leading for myself, and I'm leading for my legacy. It's time for change in our community. I'm concerned about education, the crime, the infrastructure, and mental health. It's time for a change, someone to come in and stand up for you and work for you. And I can't do it all by myself, but I ask you to work with me to get something done. I love my community. I love where we are. I love where we can be. Let's make some changes. It's time for a change. Stop voting for people. If they're not doing what they need to do, don't vote for them. A turkey a year and a couple times on television is not suffice. You need more than that. You deserve more than that. Let's do something better. Vote for Dr. Keishan Chambers. I love you. Let's work together and let's do it.
Thank you, Keishan. Councilwoman Pittman?
Thank you. I think those of you that know me, or if you haven't had a chance to meet me, just want to let you know I'm a consensus builder. I've been a consensus builder for over 35 years in our community. I will continue to do that, and you can count on me. I am the person that will ask the tough questions. I'm one that will stand alone for the people. What matters to the constituents and the businesses matter to me. I have put money in legislation that speaks for what I do. Okay, it went out. Oh, this one, okay. I have developed legislation that have spoken for what I believe in. And not only that, I've gotten my colleagues to support and put money in small businesses on Myrtle Avenue and Moncrief that have not had an opportunity to do that. So what I will say to you, let me continue the work that I've started. Vote to keep Jacoby Pittman. I am an incumbent. The district looks different. It has part of 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I promise you, out of all the candidates that are here tonight, I'm the only one that have the experience that they don't.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Last, Vanessa.
My slogan is let me speak for you. I want permission. You give me permission by voting for me. Representative democracy, I want to represent you. I want you all to come and organize with me to determine what is needed for District 10. We will be doing what you want. I'm only beholden to you and God, nobody else. I'm retired. I have the time. I have the energy. Nothing is going to stop me from representing you. Vote for Vanessa Collins Hopkins, District 10. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give all of these candidates a hand. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to change things up. Yes. Oh, you're welcome. Take 2. We're going to change things up just a little bit, and we are going to go to our mayoral candidates. So I am going to hand this back to James Morton, who's going to come up and give us our instructions, and we will have our group 3. And just to tee those folks up, if I can get your attention as we transition. If I can get your attention as we transition. Our group 3 candidates will consist of our District 8 candidates, and I know, thank you. We're gonna have our group 3, which will be our District 8 candidates, and they will come after the mayoral candidates. It's been a pleasure being with you all this evening, and I'm gonna turn it over to our next moderator. Thank you. When are we voting? When are we voting? March 6th. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have about maybe a 3 to 4 minute transition. Can we get some soft music? So we're going to do this. Don't leave, everyone. The mayor's race is next. Can I have Ms. Omega Allen to the stage, please? The next moderator I have the privilege of introducing is Monica Richardson. Let's give her a hand as she comes.
Good evening, everyone. Let's say that again. Good evening, everyone. Great. So we are now here for the mayors that are currently running. We're going to switch things up a little bit. Let's try. How about this? That better? Wonderful. We're going to switch things up this round. And so we are here for the audience and for the people of the community. What we'd like to do, if you have questions for our candidates, we would ask the first four if you can come over and line up over here. And again, the first four. Now keep in mind, we want to make sure that they are questions, not statements. Questions, please. So again, if you want to have questions, please come up and line up, and we will take the first four that come here. So I'm going to start and allow everyone an opportunity to introduce yourself. So I'm going to start on this end. And Donna, if you would like to stand up and just give a brief introduction, please. 1 minute. 1 minute, please.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's a pleasure to be here to share with you. I am a grateful fifth-generation Jacksonville native. I spent 25 years. Can y'all still hear me? I spent 25 years as a trusted voice on your local news, visiting every neighborhood in this city, listening to your voices, hearing your stories, hearing your struggles, and trying to make sense out of a whole lot of policies that did not make sense for your lives a lot of times. I'm sorry to say I'm still hearing a lot of the same things that I heard all those years ago. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, you all really came through for me and had my back with a lot of prayers and a lot of hard truths about things that you were going through when you were going through cancer. So I started the Donna Foundation to care for underserved folks who are going through cancer who couldn't make ends meet while they were having their treatment. That's been going on for 20 years, and a race that benefits that as well. We've brought $60 million in economic impact to this city, and we've helped more than 18,000 families with their critical needs while they're going through cancer. I am grateful to be here, and I cannot wait to bring that vision and that drive and that passion to the mayor's office. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Omega Allen, and I am your NPA candidate for mayor. I'm running again to win. Why am I running again? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And in Jacksonville, nothing has changed in decades. I'm a native of Jacksonville, graduate of Rains High, graduate of JU. I'm a general contractor by trade. I have 4 children and almost countless grands and great-grands. I'm a former program manager for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, where I was able to level the playing field for minority and small contractors to be able to participate in a $26.2 million program that recaptured the foreclosed upon properties here in 5 of our hardest hit neighborhoods. I am the former chair of the Northwest Jacksonville Trust Fund, where we had $25 million of the Better Jacksonville Fund that we were able to impact social and economic development for businesses north and west of the river. I'm sorry, I thought you said 2 minutes. We didn't get the 2 minutes. Okay, sorry.
1 minute? But how, did everybody have 1 minute? Yeah. Just checking. Did you have 1 minute? Yeah. Good evening, you all. Good evening. I am Audrey Gibson, born and raised in Jacksonville on our north side at 45th and Minosa Court, and of course in Jacksonville. My parents were educators. My mom taught many of the nurses in this city. Also was the retired Dean of Health Programs. When she retired, she was Dean of Health Programs at North Campus, and she has her name was placed on a building in honor of her. That it wasn't a career that I chose because I just couldn't. I didn't like needles and stuff, so I didn't do that. My father was an educator also. He taught at the old Douglas Anderson High School. He taught industrial arts with a whole slew of his friends, because Douglas Anderson was where African Americans could teach and the students can go back then. I am your former House member, Florida House, serving you from 2002 to 2010, and then your Florida State Senator from 20, is it done? Oh, I thought you said it was one almost up, until 2022. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. My name is Brian Griffin. I'm a no-party affiliated, grassroots, fiscal conservative, write-in candidate. I want to work for everybody. I feel that our government kind of ignores the majority of the population and the majority of the city. If you're tired of seeing money constantly being shoved or shoveled into downtown or into our stadium, I'm your candidate, because I think we need to start spreading the money out throughout the city for everybody. And I guess I should have gave her my time.
We're going to have to just kind of improvise a little bit with the microphones. I'm going to go to the first question I'm going to ask, and I'll start with Omega on this end. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Great. I'm going to ask this question. What is your vision of Jacksonville? And if you are elected, what are your plans for the city? And I'll give this to Omega first. Yes. You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
I don't think that one's working.
My vision, if you had to sum up my candidacy and my administration with one word, it would be equity. Doing what's needed, when it's needed, where it's needed. I have a 4-year plan for Jacksonville. Split the city into four districts, 4 areas, starting with the area that has been most neglected in Jacksonville, that would be North Side. Spending the monies that are generated, tax revenue that's generated in that area, on that area, as well as using the state and federal funds that are available for infrastructure. The next year, we do the same thing with the one that came in second, third, so on and so forth. What happens is at the end of a 4-year term, I will have solved 4 major issues in the city of Jacksonville. To date, there has not been a mayor who has done that. I have a PhD in public administration with a focus on municipal and participatory government. Participatory government is where you, the citizen, gets to participate in the decision-making processes that govern our lives. My administration will have a set of staff members who are constantly finding out what it is that the people of Jacksonville want to have done. Those things that we do will be citizen-driven, because that's what participatory government is. And I am an expert at participatory government. We're in this together, we move forward together, and we move forward as a community. Once we have worked those things through for the first 4 years, I'm hoping that you, the citizens, will give me the second 4 years to do the same thing.
Great. Thank you. Audrey?
Thank you. And I want to finish what I started first and then use my second minute to talk about my plans for Jacksonville. And that is, I am educated in criminology. I have my degree in criminology from the Florida State University. And at the end of this semester, I will have my master's in public administration. And so in addition to my legislative service, I bring all of that experience to the office of mayor. And so I don't talk about vision, I talk about possible. Vision to me is not as active as possible. So what's possible for Jacksonville to become? Of course, every neighborhood having a good quality of life. I would be a mayor that prioritizes the budget, because I understand there are have-tos, which is our public safety and debt service, want-tos, which are those things you can use discretionary money for, and then you prioritize it so our North Side communities will get what they were supposed to get some time ago, that I know very well because I lived on the North Side and saw what happened there. There's also East Arlington. It may not have been promised anything in consolidation, but we watched, people sat by and watched East Arlington fail. There's also on the West Side, you know, there are places there that need help too. So it's an entire community effort. Yes, my priority is on those who have been neglected over the years, but we can all do this together, and I have a plan for that. It's called bundling projects, so that if you understand, if I say similarly situated neighborhoods, if you've ever been, and I have, because I've represented the areas, if you've ever really been in East Arlington, if you've ever been in the real North Side, and if you've ever been in the West Side, there are similar, the homes are similar. You guys familiar with Magnolia Gardens, how those homes look? If you go into East Arlington, the same home, those homes look the same way. And then the same with parts of West Side and parts of South Side. And so what's happening is the neighborhoods are all failing pretty much at the same time. Some because they never got any service. Many of them haven't gotten anything either.
That's time.
But we were the North Side was promised, and I want to make sure that that gets first, and all the other neighborhoods are brought up as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Let me repeat the question just to make sure you hear that. What is your vision for the future of Jacksonville, and how do you plan to achieve that?
Well, I feel the future of Jacksonville should be inclusiveness, unity. We should all be getting, we're a team. The city's a team. I mean, if you think about it, if you're drowning or your child's drowning, does it matter who goes out and saves them? Does their color, does their religion, does their gender? None of that matters. If they're out to save you, that's a good thing. And I was brought up I was born in Panama and raised in Honduras. And when I moved back to the United States, I was kind of shocked because we didn't have this division that we have here in the United States. I mean, it's kind of astonishing to me because it doesn't happen in other countries. You don't see this separation of people. And I feel that if we spend money for everybody on, and equally for the whole city, I think we'll all be better off.
Thank you. Donna, can you answer?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been very frustrated, not only to watch what's been going on in this city, especially for the last 10 years, really longer than that. But as somebody who has worked and led in the philanthropic world for the last 20 years. I'm just weary of watching the same people get the same things over and over again while everybody else just gets left behind. I have sat in too many living rooms with too many kids or mamas who have lost somebody to cancer because they didn't have access to health care, or too many people who have simply been just abandoned by a system that is supposed to work for them because they pay taxes too. Look, we have got to have a city that begins to work for all of us, and I have a 3-pillared plan to make that happen. My first pillar is infrastructure. And that doesn't sound very sexy, but at the end of the day, if we do not go in and finally keep those broken promises that we made 60 years ago, I do not believe we can move together as a city. I don't believe we can. Unless all of us do better, the rest of us are not going to do better. Not only is it the right thing, but it is the thing that will make us better as a city. So we've got to go in and we've got to pave those streets and fill those potholes and get those sidewalks and put those lights out there. If you're a small business person, in fact, we held a forum here the other day, and I met with a bunch of small business people and who are just waiting on services. And I said, it's great to have a small business, but if you're sitting in your business in the dark, underwater, on a street that nobody can get to, it doesn't really matter, does it? We have got to make good on the promises that we made. And in a Donna Deegan administration, I promise you, we will do that.
Thank you. Just a friendly reminder, if any audience has questions, we're just asking to step over to the right of the podium if you have any questions for any of the candidates. The next question, and I'll direct this to Audrey to go first on this. How do you plan to address the issues of affordable housing in Jacksonville?
Thank you for the question. So one of the appropriations committees that I served on in the legislature was transportation development and infrastructure, which includes transportation economic development, which includes where your affordable housing dollars sit. So that committee is actually the economic engine for this state. And so we finally stopped draining the housing trust fund to add more affordable housing, though it doesn't seem like it. And so my plan is to first work on infill and having a survey of those vacant lots and vacant properties that are in our older neighborhoods, so that those, I believe in bundling, because I think it gets projects done more faster instead of onesies. And so once we as a city acquire some of those properties, then we would, in my plan, we would offer an auction where builders could buy more than one and then rehab those with parameters put in the contract by the city as to what rent would look like. Because right now we have a lot of investors who are buying up property. I know the city gave $30 million to one company, but we're behind the curve because we have no control over what the rental costs are, because investors are buying them and we have no control over that. So that is one of the ways. In addition to that, creating small businesses owned by local owners. I want to make sure we incentivize those. We incentivize big business. We should be able to incentivize small business in this city so that those businesses will spring up for local people and provide local jobs in that community and create economic development. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna, I'll have Donna go. I'll have you go next, please.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it's a complex problem, but you have to start taking bites of the elephant, and we just haven't done that. For years we gave all that money away at the state level, and on the local level, if you compare us to most other cities of our size, we just don't make an investment in affordable housing. Your priorities are determined by where you put your resources, right? That's how people tell you they care about you. If they give you resources, they care about you. We do not put resources into affordable housing in this city. And I'll tell you, it is true. We've got a lot of vacant lots in this city that we need to be putting affordable housing on. We do need infill. We absolutely need to make sure that we are taking those tax dollars that seem to be spread out all over the city, way out towards 295, and start to put some of those tax dollars into areas where we can create more housing where it's needed. And then we need to help people get into that housing. There's just there are many pieces to this puzzle, but it starts with making an investment. We have to. There are a lot of pieces that need to come into play, but a lot of it is just simply financial. If you want to solve a problem, you need to invest in that problem. And if you look at what we've done in this city, we have pretended that we don't have a problem at all.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you. Well, I think there's a lot of things we can do as far as affordable housing in Jacksonville. Some candidates mentioned tiny houses, which I agree completely with. Those can be moved. You can put them anywhere. You can fit them anywhere. Another thing I think we should do, we need to get our city motivated. There's so much building going on in Jacksonville right now. Anywhere you look, I mean, you drive into a neighborhood or an area you've never been or haven't been to in a while, and you don't recognize it anymore. There's that much building, and I think our city should. I hate to use the word force, but should put it in the agreement where a certain percentage, no matter what, if it's housing, a certain percentage should always be affordable housing in every construction job here. So because in any part of town, there's always somebody working at McDonald's or Burger King that can't afford the expensive houses in the neighborhood. So you don't want to have them drive. Why would you inconvenience them even worse and have them drive so far out of that area to live and then have to drive in? So it's actually a bigger expense to those people, if they have to do that. Also, I think another good idea would be the city could buy a piece of property big enough for, say, 50 to 100 houses, and then invite builders or prefab construction companies to build a house each, maybe two, if they have two different versions, and then after advertising for 6 months or so, the city may be able to acquire that property at a reasonable rate or maybe for nothing. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Last, Omega?
We've heard innovation, we've heard investment, and I agree. We also have available our own housing and neighborhoods department where we actually can and do fund down payment assistance, offer different types of assistances for our citizens to get into homes. But no one entity has all of the answers. And because I'm about equity and participation, I believe what I would do is I believe that we should bring together those entities that are building the commercial properties, those who have come in and swooped up all of our land, but bring in the citizens who have insight and information to add to it, and then my administration and the housing department. Let us all come together and figure out a workable solution that is affordable and equitable for everybody concerned. Yes, the businesses they are part of our community as well. They have to make money, they have to live. I'm a businesswoman, I understand that. But at the same time, we have to do what's necessary for all of us to thrive and move forward together. And the only way we're going to do that is to come together, put our heads together, and come up with an affordable and equitable way to move forward. We can use tiny houses. As I said, I am a general contractor. Tiny houses will serve a lot of people it won't. But when you have all of these entities working together and having input, then we can come up with a workable and affordable solution.
Thank you. We're going to take a couple questions from the audience.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you guys coming out, being in the hot seat. It means a lot. I serve on the board here at Beaver Street Enterprise Center, so the small business community is very near and dear to my heart. So this question is specifically regarding the small business community. As a minority business owner and community leader who has been awarded local and state contracts, my question is specifically regarding the City of Jacksonville Department of Procurement. Aside from filing bid protests, which I have had to do pretty much every time I have bid, by the way, how else can we as private citizens address concerns about corruption and unfairness in the City of Jacksonville Department of Procurement? Please do not mention the Office of Ombudsman or JSAB because I have been there and done that, trust me. How can you assist me as my mayor?
Well, first of all, let me just say I hear your frustration. I have met with a lot of business leaders out here and have heard the same thing over and over again. And I have actually gone and talked to people who work in that department to find out, you know, what is happening here. And I'm just going to tell you, it is exactly what you hear over and over again. There is no effort in that department to really help. There's no effort to help. And in fact, I talked to a woman yesterday who was in tears telling me that she's worked in that department for 25 years and that she knows before she ever tries to help somebody that they're not going to get help because there simply is not an effort and a willingness to help you. So my answer to you is we need new leaders. We need new leaders who will put new people in those positions and break the bureaucracy that is in that system. We have a system right now, and I've said it before, that is set up for a handful of people. And the same people get focused on and the same people get help. And until we put new people in leadership, leaders who are not bought, not afraid to challenge the system, not afraid to shake it up, not afraid to take the bureaucracy and tear it up, it's not going to change. It's not going to change. So that's why this is so incredibly important. We cannot have this happening over and over again, year after year, people working so hard to keep their businesses together and going, and you can't even get help from the one place you're supposed to be able to get help from. I wish I had a better answer for you than that, but the truth is, I have talked to so many people on the inside, whether it's in procurement, whether it's in housing, whether it's in public works, and I hear the same answer over and over again. Who's next? Oh, we just go down?
Not only do I feel your pain, I've experienced your pain. I'm a small business owner. I have bidded on projects, won the bid, and was denied the project. So I understand. What I would do as your mayor is I will revamp the entire process and the leadership in those departments and find out who's doing their job correctly, who's not, and get rid of the dead weight. Because if we don't have people who have your best interest and our best interest at heart, then that is not the place for them. Like I said, I have had an opportunity, and I went to the ombudsman, no results. I am a JSAB. I don't even bid on JSABs because it's a joke. And it needs to be revamped. They're in the process of revamping now, but there is so much wrong. And being of that lineage, if you will, I know how it works. So a vote for me will get that done, get that straightened out. What I found out was that City Council actually voted that when they did the stadium and the ball field, they voted that we no longer have to go by the lowest bid. My question was, well then, why are you sending us through this? If you're going to give it to your boys anyway, why send me through this? And that's what I asked them. You know, if you're going to do that, why are you sending me through the process? Nobody can answer that. So would you want me to cut me off? Anyway, I can speak loudly enough. And what needs to happen is, I have to agree with Donna, new leadership. And under my administration, I don't have a problem with going through. I don't have to hire an axe man. I can go through myself and find out who's doing what, who's not doing it, and get the people out who's not working.
And Audrey, I'm going to have you stand up. We're going to take another question from the audience
Okay.
as well.
Not that one?
Nope, we're going to do another one.
Darn it. I'll talk to you after.
Good afternoon. This has really been enlightening for me this afternoon. My name is Adrian Stewart, and my question has sort of been addressed as far as affordable housing. But my thing is, when will we ever be able? Will you be able to get a cap on the cost of the houses, especially the houses they're putting up now? Really not worth it. But we're paying $300,000 and $400,000 for homes, and people in this city, they can't afford that. Maybe people coming from other states that has that really income and good retirement, they can afford to pay $3,000, $4,000 a month. But they're building these houses, and people would like to have a brand new house, but they can't afford it. So is there any way that that you all or the city or the government can put a cap on what these builders are charging people? It's just ridiculous.
Well, affordable housing has a specific definition. Of course, it's how much not that you can buy, but how much your income is compared to what the rent is, though. But when you buy a house, it's a little bit different. So most of those, if you're buying a fair market value home, then it's the market price that drives the rent. But certainly, as I was mentioning earlier, even in the rental space for affordable housing, the city should have control over what, at least temporarily, until we get rent stabilized, what can be charged for rent. And I'll give you an example. So of affordable housing done differently, and the cost is less. So I bought a house. It's on the I call it deep north, from a builder that the contents are a little bit different, right? They built a same style house in another community, but the difference is in the appliances and whether they're high end or not. And so that is a way that can help us with affordable housing that's already being done by specific builders. So you may look for a specific builder, but in terms of the government, the city controlling the cost of a house, I have not heard of that. But I think if it's affordable housing and the city is participatory and the state is participatory in funding the building of those homes, then absolutely the city and the state has a say in what that cost range would be.
They're paying astronomical amounts. So, that's making the houses not living anywhere not affordable. So that's all I'm saying. I've never seen it to where it just go, in a couple of years. I know the interest rate has a lot to do with that as well. But, they just coming in, building these ugly houses. They're not really.
It's been a property insurance issue too. But here's the other part of what's happening in some neighborhoods, and that is, when investors will come in and buy a property. This happened to the folks in American Beach when Amelia Island got built and the taxes went up and those people could no longer afford to live there. And so in the housing market right now, investment property is hot. So someone will come in and offer 3 times the cost of a property. And when that happens, that starts to raise the market price for some of the other homes in the community. And so that's why I said we need to rein in some of these investors anyway, because not only are they building in your neighborhood, they're renting, and they're renting at an astronomical amount of rent. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Brian? Same question.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if she was speaking about rent or purchasing, but I guess maybe I will refer to both. I feel that in a free market, you can't really change a whole lot. You're kind of stuck with it. I mean, if it's when they're usually comparing one house to another in the neighborhood, and the price goes based on what the neighborhood goes for, it's kind of hard to really affect that. But I feel that what we could do is eliminate redlining, get rid of problems, with make it easier to get loans and maybe that would make it a little better for people. But as far as the free market, I don't know that you can do much about that. As far as affordable housing, as far as renting and stuff, there's a whole different subject. We could build our own. The city could build our own neighborhoods. We could create incentives for builders and developments for affordable housing. So that's my answer.
Great. Brian, if you can keep standing, I'm going to have this question for you. What are your plans for improving public safety and reducing crime in Jacksonville?
Well, I feel that we need to invest in all these neighborhoods. I mean, like I said before, we keep shoveling money into downtown, and I mean, you can only pile so much into a pile before it starts collapsing off the pile. But I mean, public schools need to be, equal throughout the city. We need, better streets, better sidewalks, better street lights. I mean, if we go into all neighborhoods, but if you go into especially the poor and neglected neighborhoods and do that, you're going to reduce crime. I mean, you want to take care of the flooding. Flooding affects everything. Really, you think about it. What good is an affordable house if it's flooded? Well, what good is great traffic flow if you can't get down a road because it's flooded? It affects everything. So I mean, if we took care of all these problems, my platform, you take care of crime, affordable housing, storm resilience and readiness, and public schools and traffic, you'll help everybody. It'll improve the city for everybody.
Great, thank you. Audrey, I'll have you answer the same question. And I'll repeat the question for you.
Yes,
what are your
please.
plans for improving public safety and reducing crime in Jacksonville?
Well, and I'm going to hasten. Is this my 1 minute answer? Is that what it is we're doing? So, 2? Okay. So we talk about crime. Crime is an umbrella word, right? What we're really focused on right now is violent crime, and in particular gun violence. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I have my degree in criminology, so I'm able to work with our sheriff on addressing this issue. First of all, we want to make sure we know what are the trends? Where is it happening the most? The answer is not just arbitrarily deciding to add more law enforcement officers in the community. The answer is data-driven. And so we know pretty much where these incidences are occurring, but we need to know specifically. I believe also that gun violence reduction is a community affair. Back in the day, the news would come on and say, it's 10 o'clock, do you know where your children are? We need that to start back over at, it used to say 11 o'clock. We can start at 9, 10, 11 with that same message so people are aware. But the issue is, according to the state attorney's office, too, that I met with like a year or so ago, we were discussing the rash of gun violence at that time. Because as you can see, it's been very cyclical. Part of that has to do with the age of our community, which is the average is like 37, 38. So hopefully we can stop it, but we may see more waves. But the state attorney said to me, one gun turns over multiple times in this community, just one. And so it's important that you all too understand that some parents know there's a gun in the house, but they're scared to say anything. We need to make it safe for parents to talk about what's happening in their home and feel comfortable letting someone know that they need help. And so with the one gun turning over multiple times in the community, people leave their cars unlocked. They leave guns in the cars. Guns get stolen. Nobody's supposed to steal, but that's what happens. Then those guns may not be reported. And so the gun issue continues until the perpetrator is caught with the gun or until the gun is found. And so it seems it's not going to fix itself overnight. It's not going to fix itself by itself. It's going to take all of us to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Omega? Same question.
Well, as you know, fighting crime is not a mayoral function. However, it would be my job to support the Sheriff Department in their efforts, encouraging community policing. I think that's very important. I've been talking community policing for the last 8 years. I've sat with the different sheriff, with Mike over his 2 terms, and he said it all looks good, sounds good, but it never actually happened. When you have relationship, everything is about relationship. When there is a relationship between the police officers and the people that they're serving, the protection is better. It's hard to put your life on the line for somebody you just don't know. It's a lot easier when you have built a relationship for them, and it also helps with our mental illness issues that we have that are ending in death because the police officers come guns blazing and don't understand that there is a problem with that individual, wherein if that was their beat, that was their assigned area, they would know that John didn't get his medicine. They know John's mother, even if they had to tase him to put him down because he was ill. Those kinds of things. Working with the sheriff, talking about being the voice for the people to the sheriff to talk about the sensitivity and how we need to work to find out where these silos are, that the major crimes are happening. In fact, there are programs that I would support that I cannot go into because of the nature of them, that I know that the police department is working on right now. Support that, because they are working on they know where the drug lords are, where the big crime guys are, and getting those things, those guys under wraps and getting everything solved. I would support all of that, but economic development is the key to curtailing crime. High wage paying jobs is what I will be working on to get here in Jacksonville.
Thank you.
Well, this is an issue that's complicated, right? And I think the approach that we have taken over the last number of years is if I got a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? And I think we have to take a multi-pronged approach to crime. Look, we all want to solve violent crime especially. But at the end of the day, I think when we have had the most success against violent crime, it has been when we have taken a multi-pronged approach to it. And I remember back when Mayor Payton was mayor, we had a program called the Jacksonville Journey. It was when Sheriff Glover was sheriff. And there was a program that combined several different things: literacy, food deserts, all the things that tend to be involved in the underlying issues that end up causing crime. And of course, again, policing, and Omega said it, community policing, incredibly important. You have to have officers that have a relationship with the community, and there has to be a willingness to communicate. And there also has to be accountability. So at the end of the day, as a mayor, my levers are mostly economic development, absolutely important, making sure we're giving people opportunities for economic empowerment, to have other opportunities to do things other than get involved in things we'd prefer they did not get involved in. But it's more than that. And what happened when we had the journey was that it was focused on a very small area of town that had a lot of violent crime. And what we saw was a dramatic drop in violent crime with that multi-pronged approach. So my feeling is we've got to start making sure that we're getting underneath the causes of crime. Yes, we need law enforcement, we need community engagement, but we also need to make sure that we're getting underneath those causes. And I think prevention is worth a pound of cure, right?
Great, thank you. And we apologize, we can't get to more questions at this point. We're going to transition into closing statements. And we're going to allow all the candidates to give a 1 minute closing that we have. And we will start at the end. Brian.
Well, as you can tell, I'm not a big talker. I'm more of a listener. I was always taught when I was little, shut up and work, and listen and shut up and work. That's what I was always taught. So I'm not great at being in front of a crowd, but I will work for everybody equally. I will, do the right thing. I will, I'm not somebody to go and work for myself. I want to work for everybody. I'm in a selfless way. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Audrey.
Thank you, and thank you all for staying to listen. I've enjoyed sharing with you. I just want to say this as I close. Experience matters. When you go apply for a job, they're looking for your experience. I bring experience to the office of mayor that no other candidate in this race has. I will bring that to the office of mayor. I've been a problem solver for many, many years. Not only was I a member of the Florida Senate, I was a leader in the Florida Senate. And I also have been a leader in this community. I've cared for this community, been driven by this community, and I've brought home funding for this community. That's how I know what our needs are. And let me just give you a few examples in my short time. 5-star veterans, J.P. Smalls Parks, Northeast Florida women veterans, family support services for foster care kids, Leon Haley Trauma Center, UF Health, $80 million, the Urban League, Clifford Williams, Wrongful Incarceration Claims Bill, Bob Hayes Community Center, Cecil Spaceport, Historic Stanton, University of North Florida, Edward Waters University. And thank you all very much. I hope you will consider what I've said this evening, my experience in this community, my care for this community, and I ask you for your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Omega.
Well, they call me a long shot because I don't have millions. But when you don't have millions, you don't have a lot of strings on you, don't have any hooks in you. I'll operate under honesty, accountability, and transparency. I am qualified. As I told you, I hold a PhD in public administration with a focus on municipal government. Experience is important. I have multiple areas of experience in dealing in the city of Jacksonville with our different departments that I have been the chair of. So there are a lot of things that I bring to the table, but my education is one that is unsurpassed by anybody on this panel. I am qualified to do the job. I'm not trying to turn Jacksonville red nor blue. I'm working to keep it red, white, and blue for all of us, for the people of Jacksonville. I am asking for your vote. Omega Allen for mayor.
Thank you.
And I too want to thank you all for taking the time to stay and be engaged. This is so important. This is such an important election. We have the opportunity to end years of really neglect and a time of frankly corruption in this city. It's time to turn the page. It's time to put a leader in charge who has had the people first her entire life, whether it was when I was a journalist in your neighborhoods, telling your stories, listening to your issues, or whether it was the foundation I started after you told me there was a need. I have spent my entire life being a voice for the voiceless in this community. That is what a leader does. I am grateful for our developers in this city. They don't need a voice. They've got a megaphone. We need somebody to stand up for the people who are constantly and chronically left behind. I have been your champion. You have had my back. It has been my honor to have yours, and I would love to have it in the mayor's office. Let's go change this city for good. I'm asking for your vote. Please, between now and March 21st, make your voices heard at the polls, and let's change this city.
Thank you. And can we all just again thank all our candidates that are running for office. Thank you for being here. Again, just reminders. When do we vote? Can we say it again? When do we vote? Thank you. All right. We have one more group, and we just ask if you can stick around and support the candidates in our last group. We're going to transition for a couple minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are the diehards, so you all are the ones that have to go forth and provide all of the information. So as we transition, we're going to go to our group 3, which will consist of District 8, as well as one at-large candidate that joined us a little late. So if I could get my District 8 candidates, and I believe they are, if you can stay with us, that would be great. So these candidates can have your ear and they can give you what they plan to do if they're elected. So if I could have Charles Barr join us up front. Charles Barr, Tamika Holly Gaines, or Tamika Gaines Holly, I apologize. Is Tamika in the room? All right, thank you, Tamika. And please let me know if I'm not pronouncing your names correctly. Solomon Olapade? Olapati. Thank you so much. I apologize. Ronald Robinson? Ronald Robinson. Tamita Woods? Miss Woods? No? Miss Woods? Okay, and Nishan Nix. Did I leave anyone out? Let's welcome these candidates. And again, I personally appreciate those of you that are hanging in there with us. Okay, we are going to get started, and we are going to give these candidates our attention. I know the hour is late, but power is in our stick-to-itness. So with that being said, welcome, and we're going to give you 2 minutes to tell us who you are and why you want to become a city council member in District 8. So we are going to start to my immediate left, right here. Immediate left, you. Mm-hmm.
Hello. This is, I am Solomon Olopade. I am originally from continent of Africa. I've been in the United States for 32 years. I'm a family man. I'm married to my wife with 5 kids, and I'm a professional architect. I'm a licensed general contractor. I build houses. I build schools, restaurants, daycare, barbershop, hair salon, and everything in between. I have my own business. I'm a businessman. I hired people to work for me. I've had my business for decades now. I came to U.S. with very little. I went to FSCJ. I later went to FAMU. I graduated in the School of Architecture. I worked for the city of Jacksonville for 7 years. I know literally where everything is buried inside that building. I was there for 7 years. And I'm going to tell you more about that later on. But I'm running for the city council to make changes in this community. This country has been good to me. I'm happy to be here. I'm one of you. Please support me, Solomon, running for the city council, District 8. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. That was weak. I'm going to keep going anyway. But my name is Ronald Tracy Robinson. I'm a Libertarian Party of Duval County candidate for City Council District 8. Now, my reason for running is my general platform, to stop the gas and property taxes from further increasing. We got to stop the property taxes from increasing, because that's the one thing about the housing that's keeping us from inheriting our homes for generation to generation. We got to stop these gas taxes from keeping on going up. Just recently, we had a 6-cent gas tax increase, going from 6 cents to overall 12 cents. That's going to take $1 billion away from our people as far as tax revenue is concerned in the next 25 to 30 years. Now, I don't know if 19 people know about what 1 million people can do with their money. That's just madness. Only we know what we can do with our own money. We need to put that into our own neighborhoods, into our own families. And also, I'm here to cut down on Jacksonville city debt, which goes up to $3 billion. Now, to pay for that, to make the debt solvent, 1 million people in Jacksonville got to pay a tax burden of $10,200 each. now with all the taxes levied against us, is putting us in more desperate economic conditions. I know we really like the idea of getting funded, provided for this project and getting funding for that project, but we got to be careful about just allocating money outwards when we should be turning that inwards so we can make solvent our debts that we have. Because when the city is in debt, we're all in debt. So I'm here to help us stretch our dollars a little bit further than they have been. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tamika?
Good evening. First, thank you, President Rumlin, James, and the NAACP, and all of you for staying this evening. And please make sure you join the NAACP tonight so that the next time we can have dinner served while we're here. But make sure you do that. I am Tamika Gaines Holly. I am born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, specifically in District 8. I graduated from Duval County Public Schools, Jean Ribon Senior High School. I am a graduate of Florida A&M University, a graduate of University of North Florida with a master's in public health, as well as the minority inaugural fellow for JU's public policy program. I am the wife to retired police officer Delaney Harley and current Florida Air National Guardsman. I am the mother to Devon, Dewan, and Layla, all adult children who now also reside in District 8. I am the daughter-in-law of my mother-in-law who stays in District 8. I am the daughter of Lee and Evelyn Gaines who stays in District 8. I'm the sister to Felicia Prevelia and April, the friend to Tiffany, and the neighbor of you. So why am I running? For your mother, your father, your spouse, your children, your grandchildren. That's why I'm running, because we need effective leadership for our community. We need people who have the skill set and the courage to stand up and speak out. People that know what they're doing. People that are going to be effective and get the job done. And I've done that throughout my career. I currently serve as the Chief Operations Officer for ElderSource that provides senior services to the 7-county area. I've served on the Public Service Grant Council as well as the Steering Strategic Partnership Committee for the City of Jacksonville. So I've been in this arena for some time, and I've been able to work in this community, bringing over $20 million to address the biggest challenges our communities have. So it's not about what I'm going to do. It's what I want to continue to do for you and your families.
Thank you. And this is Nishan Nix, our at-large candidate. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. My name is pronounced Nishan Nix. Originally from Syracuse, New York. I'm the oldest of 5 children. The typical troubled youth story, basically biological father was in prison in Attica. My mother struggled with substance abuse. My stepfather came to our beautiful blended family and said, we're going south. No family, no support. We came to Duval. We came to Jacksonville for hope and a better future. Needless to say, the same drugs in New York were the same drugs in Jacksonville. My mother passed in 2020 from fentanyl. I do not share this with you because I'm asking for sympathy. I share this with you because if we're going to counter this for our loved ones and our families, I'm going to need everybody's support. My wife is retired Navy. She served 22 years. I want to give a huge shout out to all you that serve and have served our country. Thank you. I'm the father of 3 beautiful daughters. My youngest one is special needs, so I can empathize with those who just need a little bit of help or resources or access or guidance. I'm a small business owner. I teach youth martial arts and self-defense. I'm one of the few people that look like me that can go into a public school, and principals look forward to me speaking to our young people to give them guidance, mentorship. Not only that, I also run a nonprofit. During the pandemic hit March of 2020. In April of 2020, we were serving food at Arlington Elementary School. I had authorities calling me asking who gave me permission. I said, well, Principal Gomez called me and said she knows people that need to eat. And it was my job to help them get the food that they needed. Listen, I don't have a whole big plan, but I do believe in these 3 things. Number 1, public safety. Number 2, affordable housing. And number 3, economic development. My values are around faith, family, and community. I want to fight for all of us. At large is 1 seat that covers all of Duval, Beaches, Baldwin, North Side, East Side, West Side. You got 5 at-large and 1 district person. They all work for you. A lot of times you get caught up with 1 district person and you wonder why they can't serve 80,000 people effectively.
Nishan, that's your time.
Thank you,
But
sir.
guess what? Keep standing, because I'm going to start with you. You weren't with us a little earlier, but I want to give you the opportunity to tell us how you plan to represent the needs of constituents from across the entire city, as you said, the west side, the north side, the south side, and all of Jacksonville, rather than just one specific district. You have 1 minute.
This is not a one-woman or one-man show. There have been some great organizations that have been doing the legwork. They just haven't been recognized or supported. My job is to work with the community leaders and community elders, the nonprofit organizations, to see how we can work collectively to get stuff done. When I go to the west side, they're saying, listen, can you help us with food deserts? The north side, can you help us with public safety? Arlington, can you help me with affordable housing? I'm here to work for everybody. I will make myself accessible. I may not be able to get right back with you, but I know that many hands makes the load light. We all win when we work together.
Thank you. We're going to start with you, Ms. Holly. Our next question, not that question. It is, how do you plan to engage with the community that you will be serving if you're elected, and how do you plan to hear their voice and talk about issues that are relevant in their everyday life, like crime, infrastructure, and affordable housing? And you have 1 minute.
Thank you for that question. Community engagement has been what I've done my entire career. I've served in social services, executive management for over 20 years. I've been a PTSA president for my daughter's school. I continue to talk to voters right now, knocking on doors to hear their concerns. And that's what I'll do. I'll make sure that in every community that we're having town hall meetings where we can hear the concerns and the needs and the challenges of our community members. We'll also have continuous and frequent opportunities to engage, not just city council meetings, but my door will be an open door policy, meaning that when you call, we answer. Responsiveness is important for relationships. And that's the key to community engagement, relating to the people in the communities, what their families are going through, what they want to see. And that's what I commit to do, to remain open and make sure that you see me in the grocery store, you see me at church, you see me in the bank. I'm a community member.
Thank you so much. If we can hear from you on that same question.
Yes, ma'am. And the impossible task of 1 minute. That's amazing.
I know.
But I plan on doing what I've been doing for the past year and a half when I've been running this campaign with the Libertarian Party of Duval County. We never really sat there and went to many city council meetings to ask them to do anything for us. We just went to the communities and neighborhoods and did it ourselves. For the past year and a half, we've been filling up potholes. We've been cleaning out gutters. We've been feeding the homeless with Pastor Dawson and Anthony Brown, who was in attendance tonight. And we've been doing the work on the ground as it is, putting foot to the pavement, going door to door, knocking on their doors. Like, for example, with the issue of infrastructure, like on Broward Road, where there is a flood zone, but yet the city has completely neglected that area for reasons that no one really knows. But the matter of it is, going and talking to these people and getting their insight will already tell you what you should be doing. It doesn't really take going to X amount of city council meetings. Matter of fact, once I'm elected, I'm going to have my own meetings. Come on to my office. Come and just speak to me yourself. And I'm not going to have any assistants going to be taking your calls and saying, I'll pencil you in when I get like it, when the moon turns blue, when the pig jumps over it. You know, it doesn't take all that. It just takes community effort and free market volunteerism to get the job done for our communities, because it's bottom up, not top down.
Thank you. Solomon?
Yeah. My approach is different from everybody. See, you don't have to call me. You won't be able to call me because I'll do my job. I will not be in the principal's office. I know what it feels to be in the principal's office every day. When you wake up in the morning, your lights will be on. Your garbage will have been picked up. Your pothole will have been filled. You don't have to call me. I'll do my job. Do your job, and you won't have to worry about calling us. People say, call me, I'll be there every day. You don't have to call me, because I'll do my job. See, when all the contestants or opponents are talking about infrastructures, it's laughable. This is what I do for a living. I know how to do this. I'm not going to City Hall to start learning about infrastructures. I build things. I know the roads. Affordable housing is what we do every day in my office. I know how to do this. Look, let me tell you something. None of you here, we lay on the bed, and the guy walks to you, have a surgical knife in your hand, anesthesia on the other hand, and you look up and ask him,
Solomon,
have you
that's
done
your
this before?
time.
He said, no. You will tell him to get out of here. I know how to do it. I can do it.
Thank you, Solomon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to start with Tamika, and we're actually going to ask everyone this question because I think it's important. In Jacksonville, we know that I want to say for the state of Florida, we may be third in crime for the state of Florida. Tell us, how will you work to address crime and safety issues in the city, particularly in District 8?
Thank you for the question again, Pat. Married to a retired police officer, so we have these conversations all the time. And I've been able to see and read the city's budget, with over half of our budget going to public safety. But we want to be safe, so we need to invest in public safety. When the police call, you want them to come up. I don't think anybody doesn't want them to not show up when you call them. So my first thing was make sure that we're communicating with the sheriff and we understand where he's allocating this money, and that he reports back to us each quarter of his effectiveness. Give us the data. How are you spending it, and how effective are you with reducing crime? Another way is to invest in what works. Prevention, intervention works. How do I know? Because I brought money to this district in order to address the issue. Evening reporting centers, taking juveniles who have offended and putting them into a reporting center where they are most likely to reoffend. How effective was that? We had a 90% rate. So we know it works. Jacksonville Journey, we've done this. It doesn't take rocket science, but we have to work together to do it. We have to engage people. We have to make the right investments. And we have to make sure we are holding them accountable and knowing the outcomes as they come.
Thank you. Pass the mic to Ronald.
Now, the issue with crime is economics. As I've said before, Jacksonville is in a big series of debt that we need to go ahead and put ourselves accountable for. Well, put the city of Jacksonville accountable for and how they're spending our money. Another thing about crime is that it's twofold. We have violent crime and we have legislative laws that the city council keep passing that criminalize innocent people. And the budget that he passed for the police officers, it doesn't really make sense for how understaffed the police officers are. And we don't have police in our neighborhoods because they got them chasing off birds all across the city when there's criminals in the neighborhoods that need to be tended to. Another thing that we could do is repeal those laws that are harmful, that are making things a lot more complicated for people who are very innocent. And for example, the 2023-0044 law with the light projections law. Another law is about the homelessness being incriminated for being on the corner, even though the city has created conditions for them being homeless in the first place. And so, yeah.
Thank you, Ronald.
Awesome.
It's your time. Solomon, same question.
Okay. Last weekend, I was in an event with Sheriff TK, and I sat across from him, and I asked him the same question. Sheriff, what can we do about this crime? And he shared some deep information with me, his plan. And I gave him my word. I said, should I get elected? I want to meet with you regularly, frequently, and we discuss about this project, how to stop the crime, how to get these kids off the streets, put them in a home, give them some jobs, give them something to do, and he shared some of the things that he's planning on doing on the west side, north side with me, which I don't want to share at this forum right here. But I've been talking to them. I say, help me out. When I get elected, can you do this for me? He said, Solomon, come see me. Let's sit down. Let's work it out. And that's what I've been doing, and I'm going to continue doing that with the police station. These are good guys here.
Solomon, that's your time. Thank you.
Dreaming about having your own podcast? Want to share your thoughts and ideas with the world but don't know how to do it? Maybe you're excited and committed but don't have a good space to record. Would you like a professional environment to produce all of your podcasts? Well, we have the latest technology from 4K to HD and various set layouts from green screen rooms to live studios. The Inspire Network is an actual television station where our studios are available for rent, and we offer editing suites with the latest technology. We have a makeup studio and beautiful spaces to prepare for your show. Don't forget to ask about our convenient photography studio to capture professional headshots or redefine your new look. Our state-of-the-art facility is intentionally laid out to accommodate your multimedia needs.
March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. It's Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, featuring Harvey Watkins and the Canton Spirituals, Zacardi Cortez, Tim Rogers and the Fellas, Keela Richardson, The Gospel Legends, Risen, and Maurice McZeek and MDK. Kim and Son's 13th anniversary, March 25th at Abyssinia Baptist Church. For tickets and info, call 904-813-0085.
In our world, women wear many hats. Whether she's our sister, auntie and mothers, or godmother, she tends to go out of her way to make everyone okay. But who checks on her? Lifetree Women Care Clinic believes in addressing all of women's health issues and preventative care issues to keep you going. Our state-of-the-art facility that can directly address all of a woman's health concerns. The caring staff of the Lifetree is waiting to serve you. Our director says it like this.
My goal is to meet every woman, one woman at a time, right where she is, and let her tell me what she needs so that we can work together to meet those needs.
Every woman deserves the best treatment, no matter what. We promise to treat the whole woman at the Lifetree Women's Care Clinic. Schedule your appointment today.
Isn't that the place to start?